I'm going through the white light into the afterlife. My life is flashing before me. It was filled with video game news from E3 2019. Oh, wait. The Reaper is just checking DKVine.com on his smartphone.
Hello and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell. Why don't we start here tonight?
Me. I'm not even on the end. Well, okay. If you're going to do it inefficiently, we'll just do it that way. I'm Jeff. Onan from off of DK Vine, I guess.
Yes, the other one too.
Oh, what do you call me? That Golden Sands blog post.
He's also a foxy grandpa tonight.
I am always a foxy grandpa, but tonight I'm wearing a shirt that tells you so.
Then
I'm Cameron Reigle from off of DK Vine and Cameron Reigle Art.
And he is not a foxy grandpa. And we also have...
Hi, I'm Mitchell Wolfe, and I'm from Super Jump Magazine. Sometimes.
Sounds so much cooler than ours.
So you're not even any type of grandpa.
If I'm a kind of grandpa, and
You're not.
thinking about this a little bit, but if I were to be a kind of grandpa, I think I'd be like an airbender. Yeah.
That's hot.
Yeah. You can just like get a little ball of air and just sit on it and
So,
go around everywhere.
Oh, grandpa. So anyway, this is an episode. Obviously, everybody is tuning in right now, either watching us on camera on YouTube or listening in on Apple Podcasts, not iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or some other listening device, SoundCloud. I don't know what you do, but you're all tuning in to the Kongversation because you want to hear us discuss the big news for the Donkey Kong universe that came out today. And yes, it was confirmed. Donkey Kong is in Mario and Sonic at the Olympic, the Tokyo, the 2020. No,
It's
Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games.
Yeah, it's a sort of a soft
it's a reboot. It's a
soft
reboot. Yeah.
Yeah. Theoretically.
Mario and Sonic.
Every Olympic Games, no matter where they take place, they are
The Olympic Games.
The Olympic Games.
Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, parentheses, 2020, comma, semicolon, 2019.
No.
Because it's coming out 2019, but it's for the 2020 Olympics.
You didn't even say
Yeah,
Tokyo
but it's not-
in your fake title.
But if it's not for Tokyo, there's nothing about it that makes it for 2020, you know?
Tokyo branding is in the game itself.
Yes.
That's true.
That is.
It's above the actual logo,
So technically it's Tokyo Olympic Games, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games.
Well, that's what we're going to list it as on DK Vine.
So yeah, something along those
when
lines.
I get off my ass and add it to the site, because I haven't yet, because I'm a terrible editor-in-chief.
It's hard to get off your ass when it's so damn crunchy. Your ass is just excellent, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, look at it. Video feed. If you're listening to this on audio only, you're missing one of the dimensions of this excellent podcast production.
You heard the slap, though, so hopefully that sold it for you as you're driving along in your automobile. So, yeah, we're going to talk about Mario and Sonic, Tokyo style, Tokyo Drift, Tokyo Rose. So it's going to be a jam-packed episode. Some other shit happened, too.
We're packed full of fucking jam. Just
jam-packed.
Preserves, even.
Packed with preserves. And jellies of all sorts.
Yeah, it just oozing out like the Smuckers.
Fucking oozing on the grossest way that can be said. Yeah.
It's oozing like Gooigi. It's oozing like Gooigi.
It's not that hard to say, Hyle.
We're gelling like Magellan and
oozing like Luigi.
Oh my God!
It's just a gooey Luigi. That's not hard.
So we all got up relatively early. I got up at 6 this morning, which generally I wake up at 4, but because my biological clock is ticking. No, because I'm so askew because we're 3 hours behind. Well, we are, not him. We're 3 hours behind where we normally are. It's just we don't know what time we're in. So got up at 6 and we all gathered around the TV. Did we stream it on the Switch?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was apropos.
A Nintendo Switch. Yeah.
The Nintendo Switch. Yeah, right. Not the Atari Switch.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been off-brand. So the Nintendo Direct.
Or a light Switch. I don't know.
Yeah. The Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, we didn't do that either.
Yeah. No. Okay.
It was a Nintendo.
Okay.
It was a Nintendo Switch, Hyle.
From off of Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Hyle. Hyle went for that joke. Hyle went for that joke where the thing we did was so dumb. Oh no! Oh god! Oh shit! So for everyone not watching video, Hyle's joke was our thing was so dumb that he needed to drink a lot, but he couldn't swallow the liquid, so he spilled it out of his mouth onto his pants, and then there was like a second wave.
Hello and welcome back to the Kongversation. As you can see, we've all had a wardrobe change as well as one trip around the sun. We're doing this again. We had some celebratory champagne amongst other adult beverages, and well, the episode went off the rails a little bit. So, in the interest of quality control, we're going at it again because if you fail the first time, do the exact same thing over again. Think of this as the Donkey Kong Land 2 to last night's original.
So we're another
adventure.
year older, another year wiser.
Yeah.
I barely remember what happened a year ago.
I meant one cycle, not one trip around the sun. Like one rotation of the planet.
I didn't even catch that because
Yeah.
I'm not a scientist.
No, and frankly, I don't have any use for science, as I mentioned to you.
So the
I'm all
sun took
about-
another trip around us.
You know,
Yeah.
they say it's been a year somewhere.
Yeah,
It's been
exactly.
here somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Time zones are tricky.
I believe we left off. Well, I don't know where we left off, but I know we were discussing the Nintendo Direct, and in the interest of keeping this snappy, in the interest of keeping it to what the listeners and viewers on YouTube want us to talk about, why don't we not discuss all of the non-relevant games that are not relevant for DK Vine's Kongversation? We'll save those for the E3 wrap-up episode because we played some of them, we've had some more experiences. We'll save that for next week.
Let's get straight to the fireworks factory.
Right, and again, it's Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. We hope Funky Kong's in it if they have surfing, which they do.
You know, we also noticed that it's not just surfing they also added in skateboarding.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is too radical.
I've
You've
watched
gotta
people
add
play
Funky
it,
Kong.
and it's just Tony Hawk, and that's great.
Yeah. You want that. That's what
Yeah.
you want that to be.
So Donkey Kong's in it. We don't know if anybody else is in it, but they would be just the worst if they didn't put Funky Kong in it. So,
They'd be evil.
yeah.
And I
Well,
like to imagine they're not.
I mean,
I want
the
that
guy
world.
would fail his drug test. Let's be honest.
I don't think it matters in the... They're letting in hedgehogs. They're letting in other types of critters.
Hedgehogs are mostly weed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
right.
a little,
Have you ever
they're
smoked
little
one?
Genetically
maniacs.
speaking, they're like pretty much cousins.
Yeah, although I think Sonic would be a speed addict. Yeah.
That's a joke.
Thanks, Jeff. So, liked you better last night. This direct, watching through it, and we've actually put up our live reactions to the bit at the end on YouTube at this point. But watching the first 40 minutes or so, if I had actually done something with that footage, it would have just been my face getting increasingly not despondent. I wasn't ever like, we're not getting anything I want, I'm having a fit. It wasn't anything like that because I am a mature, sophisticated man. But it was casting a specter over, I think, my plans for DK Vine's E3 coverage, because I assured people this was going to be a memorable E3, one of the tippy top of E3s. And as I watched, well, first the Smash reveal at the beginning, which was not any character we were hoping for. It was the Dragon Quest of the hero, which one of you will have to explain to me.
Heroes are when they're not bad guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
They're
have no
like
context.
sandwiches that are made of carved lamb. So
It's a little bit like that. The best way I can describe it is it's like you have twin daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
That's a callback to something that I don't know was even never live. So
That might have made it.
it's just been a recurring joke throughout the week. So I thought we'll put that in there, and now they won't know where it comes from.
No, it wasn't Platonic. I think it was in the Platonic episode.
It wasn't a Platonic episode,
Yeah.
which
So-
made it in fully intact.
That's a meme here at the DK Vine headquarters.
Yeah,
The love
that's
shack.
what we like to do for the listeners.
Yeah.
We like to just bring a little bit of candy from one episode to the next. It's a good time, and we're happy to do it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome for sure.
So because Sakurai had teased, there would only be one character reveal on Saturday night at the big Smash.
Is it a tease if you just say it?
Yeah.
If you just say
Yeah.
there will be a character.
It turned out to be a tease because he was just teasing us.
Yeah. He likes to do that, doesn't he?
So we had talked ourselves into this inevitability that we would only get one character, and if they revealed it at the start, well, that would be it.
You know, there's
Well-
some people saying that the Smash Ball turning into a fake Smash Ball is evidence of him lying.
Oh.
Or
Wow.
like in the
Yeah.
I didn't actually
didn't
watch
watch
him
it.
say this.
Oh, in the video,
I was on a plane.
I
He's
remember that-
standing next to
yeah.
this like orb with some LED lights in it, and it's looking like a Smash Ball, and he's saying, "We're gonna show off a character in the Nintendo Direct, so make sure you stick around for that." And then the Smash Ball turns from a regular Smash Ball to a fake Smash Ball.
Oh,
the
that's-
bomb one.
That's totally the intention then. If it happened exactly the way you described it to me,
he's
unless
such a tricky
you
man.
have a fake Smash Ball and you're lying to me.
I always lie, but this one is true. And no, don't even.
Yeah,
it's fine.
This definitely happened, but I completely blocked that out of my mind. That's
It's a fake Smash Ball. I guess that means it's a lie. At the time, I didn't think that meant that. At
No.
the time, I just thought like,
It's just this is a fun bit.
yeah, Sakurai is pulling out one of his
one of those
His
classic
fun bits.
Yeah. one of his holds up spork random humor.
Yeah.
bits.
Does he do that one?
Yeah, he holds up a little spork and says, "I have a spork." And it's
It's the only English words he knows.
yeah.
Yeah, so having it be the hero, which is not, there's like 4 of them, or like.
Well,
So
the
it's a
pacing
bit
of
of a
that was
misnomer
to,
then.
the pacing of that was to reveal the character of the Luminary, which is the protagonist of the upcoming like brand new Dragon Quest game, Dragon Quest 11, and that honestly was a little disappointing at first. Just gut reaction, because even though the whole trailer wasn't Banjo, I still think Dragon Quest content is cool. But I was hoping for Erdrick, who is sort of more of the classic one, sort of more of the Marth to this guy's Crom, if you will. Little Fire Emblem bit for our fans. They love that.
Yeah.
And
They're getting a lot this episode.
but then they reveal there at the end that 2 more of them guys come down there, them heroic type guys, and those were the protagonists of Dragon Quest 8 and Dragon Quest 5. And it pans up, and behind them is Erdrick, the one that you wished that it would. And it turns out, really, you're getting all 4.
And I made a little quip at that moment. I was like, oh, there's the remaining 4 fighters in the Fighters Pass.
Fighters
So
Pass.
that's it. We're done. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's meant to kind of make you think for a second, like, wait, really? That's all 4? No,
Yeah,
no. Yeah.
I really thought for a moment they were going to go all 8. Or like Bowser Jr. is a character whose alternates are... It's 8 total characters, the whole Koopaling gang.
Mhm.
And throughout the trailer, you see their final smash has them summoning in even more hero people. And I didn't catch right away that was a final smash. I was thinking, okay, it's all 8. The way they brought in Dragon Quest was to bring in 8 different playable ones in that, like a Bowser Jr. type situation. They didn't do that. They just got 4. But if you're only going to have 4, they picked the best 4. Good job.
I think that another reason why Erdrick being not the default one is a little disappointing is just because, we've talked about this character for a long time in Smash discussion. Like, Erdrick seems to be the one that was coming, and Erdrick's not even the one, so it made me feel a little dumb. But number 2, at A2, is how I like to number things.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I think the Luminary just kind of looks a little blander in terms of his design than the other ones.
Yeah.
Like any of the other 3 ones looked a little cooler. And Erdrick, I think, looked the coolest of them.
Another thing I was disappointed at first was
the stream quality.
Well, yeah. This, for context, our stream was like buffering out resolution like crazy. We just all of a sudden it's so blurry. You just have some colors on the screen, and that was kind of a fun little abstract way to watch the trailer. But not if you wanted to know what it was about.
Yeah.
But no, I was gonna say Erdrick had the potential to be portrayed as kind of a shorter, stouter character, which he's still clearly anime, but his proportions would have been more cartoony and something visually different than all the very human height proportioned characters in the Smash roster.
Yeah,
who are all very
the
similarly
character designer
proportioned.
from Dragon Quest is the creator of Dragon Ball. So something that looked more like Little Kid Goku is kind of what we expected, because that's the promotional artwork they've been using for Erdrick recently. And if it was Erdrick as the default, I think there's a chance we would have gotten that. But Luminary kind of only looks the way he does.
Right. Same as all the other tall, human proportioned characters like the Fire Emblem cast,
Yeah.
etc.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of something that, like, I've only, like, just like you, I thought it was odd at the time that why'd stop with 4, because the progression is it's those 4 unique ones and then just alternate colors of those.
Yeah.
The more I think about it, this is kind of a future-proof way of doing what happens with the expanding Fire Emblem cast, where a new game comes out and they add a new fighter who is a main character. Because from now on, whenever Dragon Quest gets a new main protagonist, they have 4 more slots to put in a popular character and just, like...
Yeah. So if the next Smash Brother comes out in like 5-6 years or something, and they're going to bring Dragon Quest Hero, or just the hero back, it could be this time. It could be the hero, and there's 5 or 6 of them, or whatever they want to do.
I feel bad for Link because he never gets this. They always just swap out the links.
I feel bad. Well, no, they just bring out more. They've got 3 links.
They just add completely new characters.
They have 3 whole links in there, but they're not alternates of each other.
Are you ready for Toy Link from Link's Awakening?
Is that what he's being referred to as?
He's just a little toy. He's just a little toy boy.
Little toy boy.
Toy boy Link, yeah.
Yeah, that's... I feel bad for all the characters on the roster which are not villains, because don't they feel a little rude? They feel like this guy's called the hero.
Not
Yeah.
hero,
And
not
I'm-
a hero,
and
the
I'm
hero.
Mario, and you're just like, yeah, this guy's the hero, and I'm just so small.
Isn't the little subtitle for Mario and like the boxing, the punch out boxing ring, like the hero or something like that? Or
Well, I guess
or maybe that's Mr. Video Game. Never mind. Somebody, I think
Link.
Link. Yeah.
Link is a
So
hero.
so he's gonna have to get that changed. 'Cause
Yeah, I think it speaks a lot to just how different we think about Dragon Quest in the West and than they do over there. Like over there, I think it would make sense to say like, well, what's the video game? I guess it's Dragon Quest, and because it's the best-selling video game in their entire country, it beats Pokemon, it beats Mario, and I guess it would be the hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for context, in
Because
the
I have no
West,
context right now.
it's kind of you know what Final Fantasy is, sort of, right? I'm asking you. You know what Final Fantasy is?
I've heard of it.
Well, okay, but Dragon Quest
It's come around a few
is
times.
essentially the RPG that makes RPG as a video game genre come to exist. There were older adventure games before that, but Dragon Quest kind of invents what we consider as an RPG, and they like it in Japan, and some of us like it in America too. You don't have to be Japanese; you can be any kind of person. But if you are Japanese, you probably like it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's great, and I'm happy for the Dragon Quest
He
fans.
seems so happy. He's
No,
really
hey,
happy.
I mean,
Okay,
the man
to be
just
fair-
learned what it is. So
to be fair, this is also Wednesday of E3 week, the last full night we're spending here, and I am fucking fried. So
I think you just end the sentence early there. To be fair, it's Wednesday.
yeah, right.
I can't be happy.
TGI Hump Day, am I right?
Yeah. Dude.
So I was just kind of panicking in my head because I made all these grand promises about, DK Vine E3 coverage. Yeah. And we got Ukulele in the Impossible Lair before E3 even began. Not much else. Like, Battletoads looked cool, and it is cool, and we'll talk about that on the E3 wrap-up. But
here's the thing. When you speculate about things, you'll sometimes be wrong.
Well, but
And
all
while we
signs
were-
pointed to...
So signs point to things, and
they do.
sometimes they're wrong.
Some-
And then we were watching this thing thinking, well, wow, we were wrong about a lot. Because that's what happens when you speculate.
I mean, we were told like the rumor mill constantly was these at least the most prominent ones I saw tended to be in the same conversation, Erdrick and Banjo.
Yeah, well, in terms
Yeah.
of the, all the speculation online, all the supposed leaks online and rumors online, I think that going into it, I was expecting Erdrick and Banjo to both be revealed until Sakurai told us that it would be one character. And then all of a sudden, now we're watching a trailer, and the trailer is for Erdrick, or for the hero.
But that's the twist on it. It's a yes but answer to it being Erdrick.
Well, yeah, so you see that trailer, and all of a sudden, you kind of I
Well,
guess
and
Banjo's you're thinking Banjo's not going to happen.
the
now.
second the trailer starts that it's not going to be Banjo because the tone is completely wrong for
It
it.
starts with Link, and he's got a sword, and then he's sword fighting Marth, who has a sword, and immediately I'm like, oh, we're not going to like this.
Yeah, it's not going to be like Banjo's not going to come in and go and just start shooting eggs, and they're going to be like, what?
Which is, not to say it's not a great trailer, and I am excited for Dragon Quest content and Smash, but clearly, tonally, you can tell immediately whether this is going to be something that's a part of DK Vine's interest in purview. And yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, and I mean, I still like throughout the direct, I'm never certain about anything that's going on, but in the back of my mind, I am trying to remain I'm not immediately ruling out something else happening because I'm thinking in the back of my mind, don't if this is all you have to talk about in regards to Smash Brothers. Why is it at the beginning of the video? Because it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for.
But
hold on.
But it just made me
Smash
anxious.
Brothers has been bad at pacing their announcements forever. Like the whole thing where they came out with K. Rool and Simon in the summer, and then waited months and months, and then ended on Ken and Incineroar. It was so in terms of the excitement level of their reveals, they did a really bad job of spacing those out and putting it in a good cadence. It would make sense to me they would do that again, because why would
it did raise a lot of questions, and it's that uncertainty. I was not dejected but anxious the entire way through. Okay, are they going to end high on this?
Yeah.
And they could have just ended on Breath of the Wild's sequel, and in terms of the greater Nintendo fandom, that would have been a great even without Smash at the end, that would be a fine direct.
Right, because
Smash doesn't have to be at the end if you have Breath of the Wild 2
because
locked
again,
out.
Smash is not the focus of this E3 in terms of show floor presence or anything. It's not here, so
it's not on the show floor,
No.
which I didn't expect. I thought it would be
a little
on the show
something.
floor.
No,
just a little. Yeah, a
if
little
you
nod.
for some reason were on the E3 show floor and never checked the internet and just didn't talk to people passing by, you wouldn't know Banjo was a thing.
Yeah, there's no coverage on the show floor of that. They're talking about games that they have demos for, basically.
Yeah.
Not even a poster or anything, which probably
But
was for the
similarly-
best because somebody
That would've
might
leaked,
have sniped a photo of it or something.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, I mean, it was 40 minutes of some really cool games. Like I said, Luigi's Mansion 3 is actually really fun. We'll talk about that. Pokemon, I guess you guys have some opinions on that.
Yeah, but they're not. They don't matter.
No, I know. I'm not saying.
There's a yellow corgi in this one. It's just really good.
It's a great
good
one.
Little bread loaf of a corgi, and it's
You know
just a
what?
good time.
I didn't know. I saw he was on my. I demoed the game today. I saw that he was in my roster, and I'm like, okay, let's switch. Let's put him out there.
Yeah.
So I switched Pokemon, but I didn't know what it was. I was like, this is a name of a Pokemon I've never heard of.
His name's Yamper.
Yamper. So I threw that Pokeball out there, and out busted this loaf round, fluffy
Yeah.
corgi with like stumpy little corgi legs, and he's electric type, and I just laughed. I was like, that
You
is
laughed?
great. I laughed
Oh.
with like that's what you do when you see something that's funny. You
Well, I thought
didn't expect
that's what you do when you see amusing bread dogs. You blaff.
I was playing it with a Nintendo rep, and I was trying to stay like really professional the whole time.
Yeah.
And then I saw that there was something called Yamper in my party that I didn't know about because it was like an announcement during the Nintendo Direct. These two new species of Pokemon, and I pull out Yamper, and I'm like, oh.
Well, my rep, it was actually kind of funny. My rep asked me at the start, he's like, so have you played a Pokemon game before? And like in a no explanation for this, but in the liar kind of way, I said no. And the funny thing is, you guys can confirm that all day today, I was wearing a hat that had Pokemon on it. It had Charizard, Caterpie, and Scyther.
Were you wearing it when
I was
she said
wearing
that?
it. It was a man.
When
I
he
was
said
wearing that when he asked me. He said, have you played a Pokemon game before? And I said no. And I watched his eyes flick up to my hat. and as good a story as that is, it gets better. Because in the middle of my demo, a guy came to relieve him because he had to go on a break. And this guy came in. And the story doesn't really get better because it's too long. Never mind. I embarrass myself every time I talk to reps at E3, is the long story short.
Every time you do it.
Every
which
time.
has happened for
Like
2
at
days
Luigi's
now.
Mansion, the guy asked me, what was the story? I told you this.
Have you played the Switch?
Oh, no.
before?
He
Have you
complimented
played
my
the-
hat.
Oh.
I was wearing a Luigi hat that day. He complimented my hat. And I said, thanks, I made it myself. No, I said, thanks, I made it myself. Just kidding. and that set the tone for the whole thing.
Yeah, and he asked you, have you played the Switch before?
That's true. I said yes, but honestly, I should have said no because I don't know where the buttons are. Every time it says press Y, I was pressing X because I play Xbox more now. So.
All right, man, same here. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just a ball of embarrassment.
You are, yeah. Get out of my sight, Jeff.
I know.
Yeah, anyway, so cool game announcements, but I was just like folding in on myself in just existential misery of I've let down the community. I'm fraud. I'm just going to just go away in a just a black void of shame and
You're
goodbye.
gonna Luke Skywalker kind of hermit, run away to a new planet.
Yeah.
Drink that like.
Oh, I'm gonna be
balloon.
pulling a space cow's teeth. You better be sure of that.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
half
like
the
my
reason I did
moment
that.
of like maximum was this is that it was toward the end they went to a montage.
They did.
Yeah,
It's an interesting
and
pacing.
In
there.
our live reaction, I even say like that. Well, that's the end. That's the
And
the
I
end
think
of it.
we were conditioned to think that because we were at the Microsoft media briefing, and that was also like the signal of that okay.
Everybody
And
loves a
they ended on
montage.
a montage,
Yeah,
yeah.
everybody loves a montage. So yeah, we thought that was it, and then it's weird because I'm not quite sure, even going back and watching the footage, how I perceived this, because it was the very familiar footage and the tones of the beginning of the K. Rool reveal trailer.
I was running through excuses in my head as to like why this wasn't happening. Like I was thinking in my mind like, okay, their live stream cut out, and we were watching this on YouTube on the Switch. This is Nintendo's YouTube like auto playing
Right,
the
because
old
they
trailer.
played the montage. They could have feasibly just stopped, and then the YouTube queued up the K. Rool trailer.
See, I thought I actually fell into a coma, and this was just my brain recycling memories. That's what I thought. Yeah, Jeff, you thought. Oh, you caught on. I think that it was going to be a new reveal, but you thought it was going to be another villain because it was all the rivals.
Yeah, it's like a rivals. Okay, and then it gets to the end, and now they added the twist. The difference is it adds in another slide of Diddy and DK fighting K. Rool, and even I'm thinking, well, what's a villain? What villain will they add? Maybe it'll be, I don't know, Dr. Eggman. You get a slide of Sonic fighting Eggman. That's an iconic little gaming hero versus villain moment. Only because I'm thinking they're all going to be third-party characters in the DLC.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a villain.
Yeah, well,
It was the hero.
seeing Donkey, the hero,
The heroes.
seeing Donkey and Diddy fighting K. Rool with the extra higher pitched dun after the dun 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 dun. That was I knew that's when I started to cotton to the fact that something was up. But then seeing the also very familiar to us shot of Donkey Kong's mouth gaping wide and in a yawn.
It's a good yawn.
It's a great yawn. That's how I want to yawn.
Yeah, at this point, I thought it was... Your brain kind of stops working during these.
It does.
And I think that I thought, like, oh, this is a minor Donkey Kong character that I don't know about. And then I thought about that again, and it turns out there aren't any minor Donkey Kong characters I don't know about.
Well, we've seen to that, Mitchell.
Yeah.
I actually did when it went into the Donkey Kong part of the trailer. I was thinking, like at first, like, well, what Donkey Kong character are they adding? Why would they do Dixie Kong in DLC? That's so cool, but like unexpected. We've had millions of conversations about why they wouldn't do that, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe it is Dixie, or maybe it's Cranky or something weird.
Well, it's funny how there are some upset people online because some people just thought, oh, Dixie, and then they didn't get Dixie, which I can see that, but also there's no way Dixie was ever going to be in the Fighters patch, which is clearly tailored for third-party characters from other studios and companies.
Much bigger deals in terms of having to collaborate to promote some, it's an intercompany thing.
And also they wouldn't have ended on Dixie Kong when they have the protagonist of Dragon Quest.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, but
it'll always be a bigger deal when you get somebody else's character.
I knew in my head as soon as I saw Donkey Diddy K. Rool what it meant, but also I didn't because that's only in my brain associating Banjo-Kazooie with Donkey Diddy and K. Rool is something that my brain is quite familiar with, but then I remembered, oh wait, reality doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
These were like, this is a very like short intro, and it's like these are the longest like 10 seconds because your brain is just running a mile a minute trying to like put together there are so many questions at this point. Okay, like they did Heroes and Villains again. Why are we back with DK and not somebody new? Why is there new stuff in DK's treehouse? Why is K. Rool there, passed on out on the floor? Yeah, that's good. That's a whole thing. Why are we back here? What?
Yeah.
I know there's a good reason we could be back here, but would they really go there? Is this something I'm not going to see coming? Is it another franchise that has nothing to do with Donkey Kong at all?
Right, because they do that.
Because they do that.
The trailers that they put out for characters just a random any Nintendo.
I was not confident that the K. Rool trailer was going to be about K. Rool until we saw a silhouette.
Well, especially third-party characters typically would not have any relation to Nintendo franchises. There is a major exception in this case.
Yeah.
One that we've dedicated 20 years to. But
yeah, like Simon Belmont, that was a Luigi trailer.
It was just finding like tonal links, like, oh yeah, this man who fights spooky things with this other man who fights spooky things.
Even the reveal trailer in Smash Brothers for Wii U and for 3DS,
yeah.
The reveal trailer for Rosalina begins with Kirby flying through space before he lands on a Rainbow Road, and now it's a Mario Kart thing.
They have fun with misdirects and deliberately clashing or comparing elements of like new franchises paired with old ones or new characters.
Ridley murders Mario.
Yeah, which I'm still happy about.
He's still canonically dead.
Yeah, we haven't seen Mario this year.
Every Mario game you see
That's why he's
from now,
the hero.
Yeah.
Every Mario game from now to the end of time canonically takes place before Smash.
Absolutely.
And now that there are no more heroes, the next character will be Travis Touchdown.
So,
oh my gosh.
Do we talk now about the fact that K. Rool's is buddy-buddy with these guys?
Yeah,
or is the focus of this
Yeah.
going to be more Banjo-y?
Well, we might as well
moderate this.
Well, this whole thing is DKU
Okay.
orgasmic, like a celebration of the DKU itself, which I never thought I would see in a Super Smash Brothers game trailer on a Nintendo Direct at E3. Like, this is the end, basically almost ending the Direct, minus Breath of the Wild 2. No offense, Mitchell. But
it's okay. I mean, I worked really hard on that game, but
yeah. So the whole scene, like, this was basically, we should say, but of course you've all seen it. Like, why are we like belaboring this? this is basically a shot-for-shot recreation of the K. Rool reveal trailer back in August, the Rivals trailer. But we've never had a sequel to any Smash reveal trailer. And there's been some iconic Smash reveal trailers, but never one this is the most iconic in our community.
I mean, the closest they've gotten to that is in Smash 4. A lot of the trailers revisited this canyon, where a lot of reveals were happening with this giant fight going on in a canyon.
And this was something I thought about like we talked before about the awkward feeling to the pacing behind the reveals. I feel like this is kind of them using that in their favor because you didn't just see the K. Rool trailer; they can call back to it.
Yeah, it's been almost a year since the K. Rool trailer.
That K. Rool reveal was such a huge moment for this community, and so it's we can all shut our eyes when we try to sleep at night, when the dark thoughts start creeping in our brains. We can just focus on that and play that entire thing in our heads and not miss any detail because it is so burned in there. So to see all of this again, but in a slightly different context, was a trip. And to see K. Rool passed out with the bored Donkey and Diddy. Donkey and Diddy are basically like animated in the same poses they were initially. And then K. Rool's there with the big anime-esque, like sleeping snot bubble coming out of his mouth. And yeah, so that's a trip for some people seeing K. Rool like now buddy with Donkey and Diddy.
I've seen like the joking online or like or just by general theorizing, I suppose, that people like friend of the show I Am Given It pointed out, like this is kind of a long time ago somebody wrote into Scribes on Rare's website asking why does K. Rool want Donkey Kong's bananas, and Lee Loveday gave one of two answers. Either he likes bananas, or he is trying to deprive Donkey Kong of his food supply so that he will starve to death and die, and K. Rool can take up residence in his cozy treehouse.
Oh,
that was a good one.
Oh my
Excuse
god!
me.
Oh my god!
So
my first theory watching it was that maybe they are all so tired out from that epic fight in the jungle that they just went back home and like just collapsed. Yeah. It's not like they're friends, it's not like they're hanging out. It's just like we just had a bad fight. They just pass out on the floor. Mm-hmm. And they'll wake up and think, what the fuck, you're here? Where am I? And then they'll just like fight again. But if you watch the trailer, that theory can't work because the window has been repaired. Well, because they broke the glass in the first trailer, so this implies a passage of time.
It is repaired. Because I went back and checked that detail because I think we had this discussion.
Repaired. Yeah.
I thought that they still had the glass knocked out, but it was repaired.
Well, the glass there's no glass.
Okay,
it is just a wooden T-frame.
So yeah, they haven't completely.
But it seems to imply that the way the window is.
Yeah.
There's continuity.
Time has passed.
Here.
Is what I'm saying.
There's continuity.
It doesn't. My point is
time
theory.
All windows.
My theory was that this took place immediately at the end of that trailer. They passed out after the fight. It can't because there's some passage of time with the way the window is.
My thing is that I think they're kind of Nintendo is kind of gearing up to maybe have K. Rool appear if he appears in the next Donkey Kong Country, he might appear in a more friendly way. Or at least more, maybe you start out as a villain, and then you work with K. Rool to do something.
Like in a Bowser in the RPG game sort of way.
Yeah, like Bowser, how he is.
Yeah, enemy of my enemy is my friend situation.
It was kind of like that time when K. Rool really wanted to take over Donkey Kong's stuff, but then Donkey Kong was so good at baseball that he convinced K. Rool to be on his baseball team, which happened. Uh-huh. It's kind of like that.
But then K. Rool was so ashamed by that he disappeared for a decade.
Well, K. Rool, in the fiction of the Rivals trailer, has just been gearing up for years and years and years. He rebuilt Mechanical Crocodile Isle, and
I think that was gifted to him by Master Hand.
Sure, maybe. There's no way to know.
The other interpretation that we've already gone over in talking over in person. And I think is enhanced by what happens later in the trailer is that we're kind of seeing DK, Diddy, and K. Rool through like a like not a lens that kind of nods to the fourth wall a little bit. I kind of was thinking back, like they're functionally these are actors, kind of. I'm thinking back to like the Miyamoto quote about the Mario cast, that comparing them to Popeye, where they can be buddy the 1 minute and slot into their old roles in a snap as soon as they're needed to.
You know, in terms of the timeline and of where this is going on, I think it's relevant that in the context of Smash Brothers, in this Smash Brothers, Banjo and Kazooie that are in it are canonically from a different time period, because Grunty is not a skeleton or a head or anything.
Not necessarily. They could just be time traveling back to that time period.
Well, I'm saying that,
the
like,
stage is in that period.
Yeah.
Yeah, the state. Well, okay,
Smash-
yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
Smash
Okay.
tends to go with
Yeah,
iconic eras for a character, like not
the
necessarily most of
stages,
recent thing that happened, or like amalgamate them. Like I would point to Solid Snake, who chronologically in the last game he appeared in, like in his own series, was very, very old.
yeah.
And the assist trophy that he comes with his Gray Fox, which, well, spoilers for Metal Gear Solid, raises questions.
But I was saying though about the Rivals trailer, like K. Rool builds up his forces and just gets so ready to take down Donkey Kong that when he finally does it and they're finally like about to punch each other, I think a very rare interpretation of how that fight would go is that like they punch each other and then their like backs give out and they're oh this sucks. Let's just not. And then K. Rool has to. I mean, if it takes place right after, K. Rool that can be an excuse as to why he's laying down flat on the ground, which is a fun shape to see him in because it's just like a parabola.
Yeah. I'm sure all the Vor aficionados got a kick out of that. The ones who are a fan of him consuming people.
Yeah.
For kicks.
You be a fan of what you want.
No, that's my attitude, man.
Oh, yeah,
That's my
absolutely.
attitude,
Yeah.
People are fans of all kinds of things.
Yeah, but speaking to the idea of them breaking character, I think, Cameron, you mentioned a discussion that was like Donkey Kong 64's Dolphin auditions.
Yeah, where you have DK and K. Rool playing patty cake.
Yeah. So we've seen this before, and yeah, I like the idea that it's just kind of breaking characters. Like, it's the actors Donkey, Diddy, and K. Rool, but not playing the characters Donkey, Diddy, K. Rool. Although it's not a man in a Donkey Kong costume, because then he would just have a heart attack, as is tradition.
The Roger Rabbiting kind of.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, they're all sleeping soundly, and then instead of the ground shaking, as was K. Rool, a little golden trinket of something. Hard to see if it goes by quickly, but we all knew what it was. It goes by. Well, it somehow goes through the treehouse. Which aspects of this don't make as much sense as the original Rivals trailer, but that's, I think, just because everything is just a callback or a reoccurring gag at this point, so the absurdity is ratcheted up a little bit.
Oh yeah, there was a market difference between this and the K. Rool trailer, where I feel like everything was ratcheted up because they're calling back to this thing, and we'll get to the next part, and I'll kind of explain the most major instance of that.
So they all rush to the window. There's a cute moment where Diddy pops the snot bubble to wake up K. Rool, and then they all go to the window. Again, this is a shot-for-shot recreation, just with the addition of these new elements like K. Rool. So K. Rool's now at the window and trying to like fit himself in.
There's no room for K. Rool in this thing.
There's no room for K. Rool at the end.
I love Donkey and Diddy's facial reactions when they're pushed against the window or whatever, and K. Rool's like trying to cram in there.
Yeah. So, there's a little bit of like Donkey getting angry at K. Rool. So there's a little nod to they still fucking hate each other. But then we see the shadow come up to not the hedgehog, but the
silhouette.
Well, not a silhouette. It's first cast on the treehouse window.
It's a shadow. You can say shadow without it being a Sonic the Hedgehog reference.
Okay, well, I just don't want to confuse people because they've clearly never seen this or watched this. They're just They just tuned into a podcast and they're like, "What's this about?"
I really like 2-minute trailers being explained over the course of a 2-hour audio-only medium.
It's not audio only if you watch it on YouTube.
I forgot.
Got you there, Mitchell.
I forgot all about the video.
Even the audio-only podcasts are also audio-only unless you watch them on YouTube.
You know what? This is the candy.
Yeah.
This audience likes.
Just a little piece of candy.
Just shove it in their mouth.
And this is kind of like when you take an M&M and you cut it into like 20 pieces and
Because you can't eat an M&M
because
too much.
when we give you a piece of candy, we give it to you over 3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, with this, I mean, look, have you ever tried it? It's the best way to eat an M&M. Trust me on this. Anyway, yeah. So the shadow comes up on the window, and then it like the Batman spreads out its wings. And you're like, is it the Batman? The beloved character from Batman Arkham Knight? No.
This is a weird way to tell you guys, but it was Batman.
Yeah. That would be really weird though, wouldn't it? This is Batman. So
It's like the fact that the Banjo trailer is themed as a Donkey Kong trailer is an intersection of our interests in a way that it would have also been if it was Batman. Because we love Batman and Donkey Kong. It's two of our loves.
Then you go to the silhouette against the sunset, and it is clearly supposed to be Banjo-Kazooie, and yeah. But then, of course, just mirroring the Rivals trailer, not really the costume comes off, but the facade drops, and it turns out it is Duck Hunt, which is perfect.
Yeah, this is the escalation I was talking about, because every little beat of this is ratcheted up from what it was in the K. Rool reveal.
Not to be confused with Ratchet and Clank.
Hyle?
He referenced Ratchet and Clank. I can't be that mad.
You're going to miss me after tomorrow, Jeff. You're going to be like, you know what? My life is a little empty now.
You gotta let Cameron make points, because he makes good ones.
So, I'll go by this point by point. When we saw
I like this.
K. Rool, the silhouette that looked like K. Rool in the K. Rool trailer, I know that a lot of people fell for the bluff. Like, they thought, oh, well, this may not actually be K. Rool. They're just fucking with everybody. Because the K. Rool silhouette that pops up is, very stiff. You could kind of... It's K. Rool's model, but you could kind of believe it's a K. Rool costume.
It's a very detailed model then.
Right.
For
well,
a
and it's a
bluff,
pun on... It's a play on the fact that King Dedede is wearing the Mii Fighter costume of K. Rool.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so... Yeah, so you could... in the doubting part of your brain, say, okay, yeah, that was it really was just a costume. This is just us being messed with. The Banjo and Kazooie silhouette weirdness that we see, it's moving like an actual character that's there in a way that makes absolutely no sense for Duck Hunt to move.
Right, and then Duck Hunt isn't wearing a costume. It just kind of bursts out of nowhere, and red feathers go everywhere.
Yeah,
and I think maybe they burst out of a red bird that happened to be there. That's now
a dead bird,
canonically dead. Yeah, dead bird, like the one on the street of LA
that we befriended.
Yeah, we befriended it.
There's only one. You guys know the one.
It was dead before we befriended it. Don't worry.
There's the costume. It's the costume itself. There's how it's revealed. There's who it is, because as you were kind of leaning into. The last trailer was, or at least it came off as a tongue-in-cheek reference to the dour attitude online when we saw that there was a K. Rool costume in Smash 4, and just the utter wave of depression, like, oh, well, they did this, so we're never getting K. Rool. There were a lot of opinions on the internet, or comparisons drawn of this same nature to Duck Hunt and Banjo-Kazooie. People going online saying, well, this is a brown furred creature paired with a bird on its back. They're not going to do Banjo and Kazooie ever because they wouldn't want this symmetry between these characters.
Yeah,
I remember reading that on the forum at the time.
And I think it was the Duck Hunt's costume in not costume, alternate color in Super Smash Brothers for the Wii.
Yeah, the one where the dog is a darker shade of brown and the duck is red.
Yeah,
My
not
favorite
that Banjo
Banjo
is a
song.
darker shade of brown, but like
No, it
seems very like barely evocative of Banjo in the way that an alternate costume is often.
it was a more tenuous reason for the pessimism, I think,
Yeah.
which again goes with
But it
the
creates a body of
exaggeration.
work when you've got these
And
extra
then-
little ones.
The third thing that's escalated is the taunting of the character who put on this costume. DDD's just laughing at his own like shenanigans was very exaggerated and out there.
It was very anime style the way he was doing it.
Absolutely, and Duck Hunt is so ramped up that he starts appearing in multiple places at once. Just that's how fast they're moving and laughing.
Yeah, things get so extreme in this trailer in terms of a riff on a thing that was already funny that it doesn't make a lot of logical sense.
Well, you know, the Congo jungle has all those hologram machines lying about.
Yeah, that's why you
It's
get the
going-
two on guard.
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
It's
things.
going full cartoon.
Yeah.
And
It also reminds me of a really good Arrested Development running gag, like that just like throughout a season would just get more and more stupid, but therefore gets funnier in a very clever way. And that's what this was kind of just like. This is just nonsense at this point. Why are you still doing this?
This trailer was the Banjo-Tooie to the first trailer was Banjo-Kazooie. This trailer took
Yeah.
it took a lot of work to get that jiggy. You had to like you had to do like 5 different steps across 2 different worlds.
Yeah, this trailer would make no sense.
really smart.
This trailer would make no sense without seeing the original,
It's
which
good
I
stuff.
love. Yeah,
I just like what Jeff said a lot.
yeah, yeah.
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 That one was written for Mitch. I knew he'd like it.
Yeah. So anyway, and then coming down from the sky is the real deal to massacre the imposter.
I couldn't see because it happened so fast. You can't see what's happening until you replay. I knew they came down and it's like they were swinging a hammer or something, but they're holding the banjo. And Kazooie has the kazoo, in the way that they do.
In the way that they do at the beginning of the original.
It wasn't
game,
even a hammer.
No.
The hammer didn't make sense, but my brain
You were
was
like,
I was like, why are they holding a hammer?
You're like,
I'm
oh my
just
god,
excited
oh my
anyway.
god, Thor's in the game. Yeah. So we didn't really pick up on at first how they actually disposed of Duck Hunt because K-Roll had the claw swipe to get rid of.
yeah, we were going through frame by frame. Like, did they, hit them with the banjo like El Kabong style? Did they like kind of shove them out of the way? Best interpretation I can figure is it looks like Banjo kicks the dog in the head.
Yeah, I like to imagine the more I can imagine that a body that a growing number of Nintendo characters are canonically murdered because of Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
I choose that interpretation. So this one we got 2 for 1, 2 for the price of 1. The duck and the dog.
Well, we don't know if the duck would die.
Well,
if
because the
kicked
dog
in the head.
got ricked and then he rolls over on his back and smushes
Okay, fine,
the duck.
fine. The duck's
Yeah,
dead
I mean,
too.
It's a
If
dead bird.
Someone falls at you from like building height and it lands by kicking you in the neck. You don't like get out of that one. You don't.
Yeah.
You don't like have a good rest of your day.
That'll.
I mean, have
chest
you been doing neck strengthening exercises? Because then come back and tell me how it goes.
Oh man, we could.
Dude, we're gonna record these videos next year,
Yeah.
and our necks are gonna be so buff.
Yeah.
I'm just afraid of anyone kicking me in the neck. I
Yeah.
just need to get really strong.
It's why I don't leave the house most days.
I need to get incredibly yoked in my neck. Yeah, this is an interesting take on Banjo and Kazooie's personalities, where they would just like dive in and immediately kick someone in the neck.
but it's pretty appropriate. I think Lee Loveday.
Greg Mayles.
Greg Mayles had a quote just about how schizophrenic Banjo, the character, sometimes is. He's a stand-up guy most times, but he also has a dark side, just a little bit.
I think Kazooie is almost literally the devil on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: if Banjo and Kazooie were around the corner, and over there was like some like anthropomorphic character who said, this evil dog has stolen my lunch money. I'll give you a jiggy if you go kill it.
I mean,
Banjo and Kazooie, they won't think twice.
Yeah,
You go,
yeah.
you stop that dog. Like, if you're getting your jiggy out of it, they're getting after it. So
Yeah.
I mean, also from their perspective, like, this is just like 2 weirdos hanging outside their friend's house, like.
Oh, I saw the
Dancing.
tweet that really made me laugh was I like that Smash Brothers is establishing a growing body of canon that that people just like to wait outside Donkey Kong's house trying to punk his ass. Yeah, it's great.
Ashton Kutcher's gonna be the next DLC character.
He's the hero. Yeah.
Yeah. So the quote is the introduction quote with the still frame. It's like King K. Rool comes aboard. This one was Banjo-Kazooie are rarin' to go.
Rarin' with a capital R. Which, because it's rare, which is a trademark.
There's also an interesting bit of syntax in that sentence where it's Banjo-Kazooie, which is like one thing because it's hyphenated, R,
right,
which is plural, ready to go, which isn't
rarin' to go.
Rarin', yeah, they're
it's grammatically correct though, because if
really to go,
they're really ready to go.
Ordinarily, you don't hyphenate two things, but in this case, the brand I think outweighs.
I think it's like become like a colloquialism that like you can refer to Banjo and Kazooie as it is in the title as Banjo-Kazooie, minus one hyphen.
Was that ever done in Kazooie or Tooie?
I kind of don't think it was.
It's a more recent convention, but it's one we've all just
done in nuts and
like
bolts.
even as recently as and there may have been other reasons for doing this, like consistency, because they did it with Jackie and Akira in the same game, but it would have been funny if it was Daffy Duck.
Yeah.
It would have been funny if it was Daffy Duck.
It would have been funny if it was Daffy Duck.
Jackie hyphen Akira. The game I'm talking about is Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing with Banjo-Kazooie. Kind of has it both ways. It's Banjo-Kazooie in the title, which you can kind of interpret as this has Banjo-Kazooie branding.
Yeah.
But in the game itself, they are referred to consistently as Banjo and, spelled with an ampersand, Kazooie.
Yeah.
I think the website for Smash has it with an ampersand.
This is the only podcast on the internet where you will get this much dialogue about the punctuation.
We have a phone where we could just check that right now, but I don't think we're going to.
No, I'm too tired.
The fans got to do that work. You got to give them some. Well, Mitch got up to go do it.
Okay.
If you're audio only right now.
Because I wouldn't use my phone.
Oh yeah, but he doesn't want to touch your phone because it's probably sticky.
Oh, it's very sticky.
I don't like your sticky phone. I don't like how you're like laying traps with jam for phone thieves. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, he's a known jam trapper.
Yeah.
So, again, this is like all thinking, like processing. I feel like I was doing in retrospect because I said on the ukulele episode I hadn't dissected. I couldn't remember the last time I dissected a trailer this much. I guess the last time was probably K. Rool's trailer. Now that I think about it, and this is another one in that series.
My man.
Well, I'll be damned.
The Smash Brothers website, according to Mitch's phone, which could be lying, but the Smash Brothers website has them listed as Banjo ampersand Kazooie.
Yeah. And also the hero is how hero was in the trailer, and on the website hero is just hero.
Well, that's just so much more bland.
Well,
hero sounds like it could just be a guy's name.
Is it more bland than the? I don't know. Taking it the.
I don't know. Jeff got on me for using periods.
I don't know. I feel like the Facebook is still more bland than Facebook.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. You sold me. Yeah.
Let's go a billion Facebook. See that movie?
No, I know what you're referencing.
It's called
the movie.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad, yeah.
I said the movie. I thought that was a better joke.
The movie.
The movie, yeah. So, acknowledge me.
I prefer movie.
Right. Yeah. So, anyway, yeah. I think for branding purposes, most people know the brand Banjo-Kazooie rather than Banjo and Kazooie.
Yeah.
So, and for the context of the trailer, it's Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, I think that in the game, like when you have the announcer announce their name as like the winner, they'll probably call them Banjo and Kazooie.
Or it might just be Banjo-Kazooie, but with
Rosalina and Luma.
Oh.
Is that they do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. That. This is going to be an interesting debate, and we'll have a 4-hour podcast about it when the truth is revealed. But anyway, and then we cut to Donkey, Diddy, and K. Rool cheering
The
wildly.
happiest they have ever looked.
All three
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
And they're actually doing the Arsenio Hall kind of hoo type of arm movements. And that's great. That is just because in my wildest fantasies, if we got Banjo-Kazooie in Smash, picturing what this trailer was, we talked about it last year, Mitchell. We were picturing like the John Denver song that they used for Fallout 76.
One of us was.
I sold you on that. Don't try to change the past.
You're saying you convinced me that the Banjo-Kazooie trailer would have Country Road?
No. I said in my wildest fantasies it would.
Okay.
I didn't actually ever expect that. But in those fantasies too, I always wanted some acknowledgement of the shared history between Banjo-Kazooie, Donkey, and Diddy. This is before we even knew K. Rool is in it. So I always picture like them hugging Diddy at least or something. It's just some sort of friendly acknowledgement. Maybe like they would turn on Mario, like Donkey, Diddy, and Mario would be like adventuring or somewhere, and then it'd be like in wrestling, they pick up a steel chair and bash it over Mario, and then like they align with Banjo, and it's like rare. Yeah.
The way to Hyle's heart is to have Mario badly hurt.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, he's gotta die. Like, yeah.
I mean, he knows what he's done.
You have
The
to
way
imagine that he dies of his injuries.
The way to Hyle's heart is through Mario's.
But again,
Yeah, that's good.
but again, these were just my fantasies because I realize I have a very peculiar understanding of the way this all works, and it's not one that's really been thought of for 17 years at least by anybody but the DK Vine community and the various peripherals and hanger-ons.
You know, and it's interesting because clearly there was a connection between Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong while the Banjo-Kazooie franchise was working with Nintendo. But that being said, we've never seen Banjo and Donkey Kong hang out. Like,
We've never actually seen them physically
they've
in
never
the same
been
game.
in the same game. Diddy Kong, yes.
But Minecraft.
I meant like in that era, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
the
sure.
real games.
I think this works on like 3 different levels.
Yeah, I like levels.
Yeah.
Walk me up those levels.
Okay. You got like a really base level for people
Yeah.
who don't know jack about shit. Where it's just like, hey, these are some Nintendo characters, and then here's the new character, and they're like just excited to see it.
Yeah.
Because I think even if you don't know jack about shit, you might know that Banjo-Kazooie is a very requested character.
Yeah.
So it's just people being excited for an exciting thing.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
And then on a second level, it's like, okay, maybe you know that they're both rare things. Like Donkey Kong Country was done by Rare, Banjo-Kazooie was done by Rare. Then that also makes sense. Like, okay, I understand why they picked those.
Right.
And then on like a third, more specific level, Diddy Kong is canonically a very good friend of Banjo.
Yeah.
So it's just seeing an old friend again. And the trailer's called Best Friends for reasons that are probably mostly isolated to Banjo being best friends with Kazooie, but also probably Diddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's implying there's sort of a friendship here, weirdly, with K. Rool in the Kongs.
So I think it's 4 levels.
and
Mitchell.
then the friendship that they all have with Banjo and Kazooie.
Yeah.
I didn't know how the rotation of the Earth worked earlier, so don't feel bad.
I counted them. There was 3.
In like the wildest imaginings of what I could think a Banjo-Kazooie reveal for Smash would be like, I'll say with the K. Rool trailer, I also thought like if King K. Rool were announced to be in Smash, how would I want that trailer to go? And the trailer that they did for him did every idea I would have wanted them to see, which was fake outs, and escalated them. It did fake outs like 3 times or more. The Banjo and Kazooie trailer, I could not have conceived the direction they were going to go, because this would have just been, I would have dismissed it as too much. Like how I would have loved to see an acknowledgement of the shared history, like a wink to just Diddy and Banjo occupying the same screen space
During gameplay, like
during gameplay, which we did get, but
That's where you expect that to happen.
Yeah,
you expect the trailer has them interacting with Mario or something, and then through the gameplay, you're like, oh, here's them and Donkey Kong.
You expect it to be a nod. You don't expect it to be the main thing because
or if it is a nod, it's just a complete coincidence that we're reading way too much into it, right?
But my kind of perception on this was like at least my gut feeling generally in regards to major mascot characters, particularly under companies as large as Nintendo, is that there's a hesitation to directly acknowledge the history of your evergreen character as being tied to an auteur, which is kind of what Rare was for the Donkey Kong franchise for a while, that is no longer actively involved with them. So, and even just acknowledging, and this goes out of its way to drill that connection into your head as much as possible, to the point of name dropping Rare as a studio in the intro.
Yeah, they have never marketed Donkey Kong in Nintendo themselves, post Rare's buyout, has never made Rare part of their marketing of Donkey Kong.
No.
Or Diddy, who was created by them.
And was essentially Rare's mascot even for, I mean, you look at that vintage render of Diddy and Mario.
Honestly, the closest they've ever gotten is in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Or was it, which one was it that had like the Rare logo in
that was Returns.
That was Returns. A shape in like the ocean.
A plausibly deniable Rare logo.
But it was clearly that retro paying tribute to Rare.
A little homage, a little Easter egg.
Yeah. But yeah, this pretty much definitively says, oh yeah, these are Rare characters. All 5 of these are Rare characters, and they all have a shared historical connection of being in the same shared universe. Like
Rare.
Yeah, you can save money that way.
Rare universe.
I'm not going to use that.
Yeah.
The Shrare Witch Project?
It's Taken.
Yeah.
It's not. Who's using Shrare Witch Project?
Well, Rare Witch Project was already a thing.
No, I know, but Shrare.
Yeah, but
I don't know what your game is.
But
here.
you know,
look, it's faster if you let me win this argument, and also faster to say Shrare than Shrare.
So anyway,
I feel like I've made some good points.
you have. You've won.
So in the Rare share,
Yeah.
Oh, he's getting cool now.
I need my I have my cool sunglasses on. I'm like only half cool right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, like this is, I'll say this much, and we are going to have a full episode about this. Like after E3, a whole, like an equivalent to the K. Rool episode we did. The problem is we can't do that while we're at E3. We can't do a 4-hour podcast about this. These 3 would kill me, and
we might. Still.
It might still. I'm gonna sleep with one eye open tonight. But so like if you're looking for like the extreme in-depth analysis, that's coming. Don't worry. This is I'm losing my voice. We can't keep up with this. But this trailer, I'll say this much. This trailer was weirdly made for us. Like, not specifically us at this table. I mean, us in this community. It was made for the people who never forgot this. And in my 20 years of this website, would have never imagined that. This is the most surreal feeling I've ever had. It doesn't feel real, especially because we're all out here at E3, which never feels real, quite honestly, to begin with. And it's not going to really sink in until I get home and I can process this. And
yeah, Hyle, you said that, you're going to be like on the plane ride home and just like burst into tears.
No.
That was
After the plane ride.
Or yeah, but like...
But usually I leak during a plane ride anyway because of the altitude. Yeah. It all comes dripping out.
I was leaking during the trailer.
Is that real?
It can, yeah. If you have like clogged sinuses, people like it just all comes out.
Ew! What a fun ew!
That's
what a fun gross.
Yeah. So if you ever want to clear your head, take a plane ride.
Seems cheap. Seems like an easy thing to do.
Yeah. This, like, I I think we'd say we spoke to some people while we were out here, and it seems like that nod, that having this trailer with Donkey, Diddy, and K. Rool, it was intentional, and
Yeah. We talked to Banjo, and what we could understand, he was
Which
like,
wasn't much. The guy kind of...
his body language
Doesn't
mostly.
I believe Banjo said they knew what they were doing, or it was
Like,
yeah.
Like they had a hand in that. They were like, yeah, we Banjo reached out to Sakurai.
We Banjo,
and said,
the collective Banjo.
Yeah.
we reached out to Sakurai and
The
said,
Banjo that lives in
hey,
all of us.
we got that letter, the little smash letter
Yeah.
that they use in the trailers. We got that. When we show up, could we hang out with Donkey and Diddy? And he's like, dude, you're gonna do more than hang out. You're gonna just you're gonna surprise his whole fucking house. Like,
So I think we should talk about the gameplay, the gameplay footage, the
like the moveset,
the music. I don't know.
I guess part and parcel with that, can we talk about how Banjo and Kazooie look in this?
They seem really manic.
So now that's a personality thing, not a look thing, right?
I saw it.
Okay. If we talk about gameplay, you can say, I saw it, so it's about the visual, it's about the art.
Okay, hey, do you guys want to do a
You
4-hour podcast? Because we could do a 4-hour podcast. We could do it all night
What a
long.
little role reversal this is. Hyle kind of telling us to speed up the...
How does it feel? How does it
Dude,
feel?
It feels like a little sexy, to be honest.
Yeah. Now you know why I always try to invite it upon myself.
Is that why? You're doing 3-hour podcasts every week just so someone
It's
can
the
one
only-
day tell you, dude, we gotta go.
No, I like to anger my co-host because it turns me on.
It's such a weird way to get off. But we've said,
it's my kink.
be a fan of whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, it wastes everyone's.
Especially now, because we got ours. We got Banjo and Kazooie.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay.
They seem manic. They seem very in Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo needs to get coaxed out of bed to save his own sister.
Yeah.
And in this one, he's just down to jump from the sky onto a dog.
Well, maybe. I mean, we never saw in the original Banjo-Kazooie. He was never given that choice. Save your sister or jump on a dog.
Yeah.
This might be what he likes.
He might straight hate dogs.
Yeah.
And Grunty blew up his bed in the second game, so there is no option for him there either.
Yeah, he just doesn't sleep anymore.
That explains the mania.
Yeah.
Yeah, really running out of fumes. They're really burning the candle at
I
both
wonder how
ends.
that would feel.
If only we could imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Model wise, animation wise, the whole thing. It's clearly this is ripped from the N64. There's tweaks to it, but that's what they're evoking. They're not doing some kind of what would they look like if they were modern? No, this is exactly the N64.
It's not even really a marriage of the N64 designs and nuts and bolts. It is just it's the N64 designs with little tweaks, and even the little tweaks are not even necessarily little tweaks we've seen them make before. We've seen them experiment with in Nuts and Bolts and the statues commissioned to promote Rare Replay at E3. There's been some reinterpretation of Kazooie's mohawk as being less of the dense amount of little tiny feathers and more like a giant plume on her head like Roadrunner.
Yeah, several deliberate feathers instead of a bunch of little ones. And this one goes back to the N64 way they did it.
It's a little tuft of
Like a tuft of
feather,
fur
yeah.
almost, but instead of fur, it's made out of bird fur.
Yeah, bird leaves.
yeah.
Yeah.
The market differences
Bird jam.
I'm seeing are things that would come with the new technical possibilities. I feel like Banjo's anatomy is a bit more seamless in this, and there's a lot more squash and stretch than came across in the promotional images for Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie, which, of course, because they're still images, but they're a bit more free to exaggerate, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's anything that they did take from Nuts and Bolts' version of Banjo, it's just like his physical bulk. He's definitely a thick boy now. He's got some musculature on him.
Yeah.
He was pretty lean in.
He was very lean.
In N64.
He had a swimmer's build
yeah,
in those
yeah,
games.
he's got some beef in his sleeves. That's true. I think that the moveset is also doesn't pull anything from Nuts and Bolts. Like at least what we've seen. And there is a lot that we haven't seen out of the moveset.
They could pull out a wrench.
Yeah, things like the grabs. We haven't seen the way they grab people and then throw them, which is something you can do in Smash Brothers. We haven't seen the way they do it. Could be a wrench made out of magic.
Yeah.
You know, that happened in Nuts and Bolts. They have like a wrench made out of magic.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
try
I know.
throwing someone with a regular wrench.
You can't.
It's just
You can throw the wrench. But...
Yeah, I know that's what happened in Nuts and Bolts. It just I don't really hear that phrased back at me often in everyday discourse.
Well, that's what you get when you let me play the game with you here.
I'd also say going.
No, that doesn't exist.
Conversation.com.
That doesn't exist. I'm not going to register that.
We got two. He pays for too many domains as it is.
I have to renew Exploit Dungeon in a couple
I
months.
really like the idea that I can make joke website references on the conversation and just force Hyle's hand.
Yeah,
I have a lot of power right now.
So please back us on Patreon because I have a gun to my head right now.
But I was going to say something I love
Magic
that
wrench.
just occurred to me now about the kind of heightened, and it goes along with what Mitchell said about them being more manic. This particular design sensibility for Kazooie has never looked more like her sarcastic, just kind of toxic self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, she's pretty mean. She's a mean person sometimes.
She'll make you cry. She'll make me cry.
Yeah, you get a little smugness from her.
You
but
do.
Not much
it's
outwardly
a
mean.
twinge of it. It's not super heightened, but it's there.
She enjoys seeing a dog kicked in the head.
She enjoys
Yeah,
seeing
who
a dog
doesn't?
kicked in the head.
You get that once in a while.
Yeah.
Although when you use the Reigle bash and you grab,
Oh, that's the opposite end of the spectrum. You've never seen Kazooie more miserable, and it also heightens Banjo's kind of messed up.
They both
I mean,
are.
it's kind of an abusive two-way situation there, but we're not going to question it because
This is an abusive four-way situation.
Yeah, we're not good at handling it. Clearly, I
No.
keep coming back to hang out with you guys. So,
Yeah.
Oh, can I talk to you guys about something that happened on the street when Hyle and I were walking back to this apartment?
is it about
Abusive situations?
Mitchell's
Yeah,
just really proud of this and he wants to share it before he forgets.
Yeah, man, tell us.
So it's a life hack. If there's Scientologists
Oh no.
trying to give you Scientologist, reading material and trying to get you to spend some money on Phaeton testing and trying to sell you Dianetics, what you can do is what I did, which is just say, I'm an SP. And it works so well.
What's that mean?
It means he has a backlight.
Dude, yeah, that's good. Okay.
SP stands for suppressive person. And if you do if you say that, they are within the laws of their own organized religion, not allowed to talk to SPs. So this person said, hey, can I talk to you about Dianetics? And I go, I'm an SP, sorry. And then he goes, that's bad for you.
No. So I know where this is off topic, but real quick, I have to say my piece on the Scientology thing.
Oh, no.
Wait, no, listen.
Let's get to the bottom of this.
Listen, just real quick. We walk by them every day on the way to E3, and they've got their little pamphlets, and they're trying to get you, and they're standing out there trying to flag people down and hey, you want this pamphlet so it can ruin your life? And it's now
Wait,
becoming
don't sue us.
It's becoming a running joke that they don't want me because the first day they're coming at people, everyone around me, but not me. And every day I've kind of gone further and further to try and invite them in.
I kind of walk closer.
I walk
every
closer.
time.
I make eye contact. I kind of like look at the books a bit, like kind of.
Dianetics,
I was like,
huh?
huh. And every day,
you dropped
Seems
your
plausible.
you dropped your wallet last time. You're like, oops, let me pick that up.
literally, we're joking, but it's true. I'm trying really hard to see why they don't want me. And it's 3 days in a row, and they will like look at me and then go past me to offer someone a pamphlet. And I think they
You've
they
got
can
kind
tell.
of a Michael Moore face going on.
There's
a little
something
bit with
about
your
me.
beard.
Yeah, that could be it. It could
Yeah.
be it, yeah. There's something about me that even the cytologists, even they don't.
You look like Spider-Man meets Michael Moore, and they probably don't want any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Banjo's in Smash, and what's great is I like the way that they've incorporated the moveset of Banjo from the N64 games into the 2D medium that is Smash, the side-scrolling kind of.
Yeah.
There's elements that are, I was unsure how they would translate, things like the jump pad as a move, like jumping into the air with a green jump pad on the ground.
I'm surprised the pad is there. Like, I could imagine them translating that move with
with the animation.
Just with the animation.
Yeah, but
Which, I mean, they've done that with other characters like Sonic, but...
Well, we're thinking that's the up B, and if you do it in the middle of the air, maybe the pad falls down and hits someone.
Oh.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Sonic Spring.
Who's we?
Well, Mitch and I had this one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we did a Kongversation mini while you were asleep.
that's not allowed. I've never
Yeah.
missed an episode.
It was 4 minutes long.
Oh,
And,
still, my streak is broken.
so it's actually a Kongversation micro.
You're in it, but you don't know. And
Those are the best ones.
you shouldn't listen.
Well, honestly, so long as I'm in it, that's enough for me.
Yeah, so Jump Pad is in it. There's another one where they're doing the they've got the gold feathers on screen, like a UI thing, 4 gold feathers as they go into invincibility and charge. And I'm thinking that maybe that UI pop up of the feathers is to denote a time limit on some kind of move, that maybe those feathers will recharge over the course of a match or something. But it's an interesting way to do that.
It reminds me of how Robin's spells work.
Yeah.
In the context
Yeah,
of
but
Smash.
you don't get this like
I
big.
thought you meant Beanland.
You don't get
and I was
this
like,
big
Since
icon.
when does the Ivor Novello Award grant him magics?
I don't
No.
think he needed that
No,
award to have magic.
He had the magic. He was just born to magic. The
Okay.
magic is in your heart.
All right,
everyone.
that's great. Jam.
I think
Yeah.
that's Dianetics, though.
But yeah, we
I want in so bad. They don't want me.
we kept speculating if they'll end up pulling anything from Nuts and Bolts, but there is a lot from both Kazooie and Tooie.
Yeah,
Grenade egg.
Yeah, Grenade Egg.
that's surprising.
That's a
Breagle Bash
pretty
was from
particular
Tooie.
egg.
Reigle Bash is I'd say a fairly deep cut from Tooie.
It's a deep cut from Tooie or a very
It's
loose cut.
It's a
from
stop and
Brightest
swap
Bash.
adjacent cut from Tooie.
But you know what? We're lucky to have kept the faith and had been made to wait for everything we want as long as we have. Because you look at the way Sakurai and Super Smash Brothers incorporates their characters now,
Yeah.
and their move sets are so full of deep cuts and so faithful and creative. And you look at King K. Rool has the jetpack from Donkey Kong Country 3.
It's a hella backpack.
Hella backpack. It's hella rad. And that would not have happened in Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Yeah.
You look at Donkey Kong's moveset that's carried over since the original N64 game, mostly made up.
Right. Yeah. And so I think the fact that we had to wait, that Banjo-Kazooie feasibly could have been in Melee, King K. Rool feasibly could have been in Brawl, and they weren't, and we had to wait, and now they're like, hey, we didn't forget about you. These are here, and we're gonna treat them like they're a massive deal, because they are. We're not gonna sweep these under the rug, and they're gonna do it in their modern style of just insane faithfulness and attention to detail.
Yeah. Good things come to those who wait.
Good things come to fans of Rare. Is that what they say?
All it takes is
That's
complaining.
what you say.
I say that. I just said it.
All it takes is complaining for 20 years online.
Yeah. You should just tweet at people if you want stuff, and do it all the time.
You should dox them.
Yeah, don't.
Please don't.
dox them.
It's important not to dox anyone.
Yeah.
I think if we've learned anything this week,
Mitch is the representative of the Anti-Dox Society.
Yeah.
So anyway.
let's really lean into this not doxing.
please don't. So, by the way, we're looking into our camera, which has googly eyes. So
Yeah.
Makes it really
We're
easy to
talking
look into the
a
camera.
canonical
it does.
character. In
It's
the,
like, where do I look? Do I look over here? Do I look? Oh, make eye
You
contact.
know what I
It's
like
polite.
about your camera, Hyle?
What's that?
Is that the logo for the brand name of the
Yeah.
camera is the word Canon, and so it's just kind of like reminding you, like, hey, you talk about the shared universe lore. Like, what's
Sure.
Yeah.
Stop trying to make Schreier a thing.
It's faster if you let me win it.
Every
But
time.
every time you say it, we have to talk about it. So is it really faster?
You don't have to talk
Oh, we
about it.
clearly do. We can't help ourselves.
We let you have twin daughters. Let us not have this.
Like you have twin daughters.
Yeah, every year you can have one. You've already got one.
Look, my daughters are going to be really angry that you're talking about their existence like this.
So do you want to talk about the stage and the little elements in the stage, or do you want to talk about the music that accompanied this
Yes.
bit?
I'd like to talk about
Sex,
the-
baby. You.
Wasn't that Powerade?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
I-
it
what?
smells blue. How do you do that?
Yeah, I want to talk about the stage. So Grunty's in it.
Yeah.
Bottles
It
in
is Spiral Mom.
Grunty
Yeah.
and her broomstick.
Her broomstick is in her model, kinda. If you think about it, what does "in" mean? You know?
Well, you said her
Right.
broomstick was in it.
Why'd you say that?
It's a weird way of phrasing.
Why would that be the thing that you want to say about that?
I was just talking about different things, and like Hyle invites a different preposition to the party, and I'm like, no, we have some prepositions.
Where's
already.
your drink?
What's in
Should
that
we sniff
shirt?
that? What's in that shirt you just put on?
I'm in the shirt.
And Bottles is in there too. And
yeah.
and it's
Shirt?
Mm-hmm.
not in the shirt. I'm talking about the stage.
He's got mold.
Go what?
What's wrong with his shirt?
He's got mold.
Hyle is losing it, and what he's saying
Something
is
about
that he's got a mole. He has a mole in his shirt. Bottles is in his shirt, and he's laughing. So I'm doing this for the people who don't have our video feed. Yeah, Hyle's
It's not a joke. Like, what are you?
It's not even.
There's a mole in my shirt. Well, there's fucking not, Hyle. Like, it's pretty easy end to the joke.
I never knew it was this easy to make Hyle lose it. All you had to do is say something that makes no sense.
And deprive him of sleep for 3 days.
Oh yeah, that's a big part.
Actually, 1 month.
Yeah.
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 Well, Bottles is there.
Yeah, but he looks so good.
But
He does. He does look good. Hyle, you need to work on the way you make points. And
Bottles
this
is
is
there,
the first
except this time it's good.
Well, I think
He looks
like what you're trying to get at is we've never seen Bottles look the way he does. It's evocative of the in-game N64 model.
Yeah.
And Bottles did not have accompanying promo art in the original game or two.
He just has that cropped polygonal thing that we have on DK Vibe.
Well, like even on the box art of the game, it's his in-game model,
Yeah.
or at least that
But
red.
this one has toes. Unlike
twisting your mustache.
No, it's just getting it out of my mouth. Calm down. This one has toes, which makes it different from like Sonic the Hedgehog characters, who canonically don't have toes.
That's true.
Like they have a high rendered like
They got like a foot
a
pad.
blob at the end of their leg
No.
that has no toes.
Yeah, Big the cat is not wearing like rubber fishing boots.
They've got
Those
some
are just
like
his.
George Pistorius foot pads going on.
It's like at one point maybe they had toes, but they fused over, like they skinned over too much.
Yeah, and every single character in the whole canon did it the same way.
Yeah, it's just something that
Yeah.
happens over time because of the radiation in the air.
Oh. Okay.
Deep lore.
So
Spiral Mountain turns.
Yeah, so I didn't realize
I'm
this.
trying to wrap my head around that. How does that work?
So my assumption is that the side of the mountain that you walk up in the actual game will be a platform depending on where it's turned. So it's a platform that goes up as it turns
Wow.
or down if it goes the other way.
That's a trip.
Yeah, so that's
So 1 year.
it'll take a year to
So you let the stage rotate 2 times, and Grunty will fly by as a skeleton, I guess, because then it will be in 2.
Yeah.
that's a good shout. I don't know if they're gonna do anything like that at all. I doubt it.
I want to be
if-
clear. I am making a joke like that.
A
It's
2E
so
version
everything
would be
has
cool.
been so outlandish that we've seen that I can't make deep cut referential humor because it'll just come off like that's a thing I actually saw.
No, it would be cool though if they had some sort of version of the stage that was run down also. How the boxing ring has a Smash Brothers version and a Punch Out version.
Yeah, we have seen the environment is very much Spiral Mountain circa the original game, and the point I was originally going toward is we've seen footage of the stage where the bridge is out, which I guess is both from the first game and the second game. The first game, before you do anything, the bridge is out. To kind of railroad you into talking to Bottles. And then the second game is just destroyed from dilapidation. But in the way that Banjo and Kazooie are very much in line with their N64 models, Spiral Mountain it actually is, I think, a happy medium between how it looked in the original game and how it looks in Nuts and Bolts.
Yeah, probably. I mean, if you bring the original game Spiral Mountain into HUD, no matter what, you're going to be comparing it to Nuts and Bolts, because that is also just what that is. It's a different take on that.
The reason I bring that up is because Nuts and Bolts made a creative choice to reimagine Spiral Mountain as being having a lot of green and gray as opposed to green and brown. There's a lot of a very rocky nature to everything, but the thing that makes it more like the original, at least the most obvious thing for me, is Gruntilda's lair, which cements itself as being from the era of the first game, both in shape and design, because it's styled after the N64 Grunty head, but also it keeps an element of the first game that's very distinct and not seen in any other game where you can see Gruntilda's lair, where the land surrounding the lair is corrupted by her magic. And I don't know if too many other people were so excited to see that the rocks around Gruntilda's lair are horribly discolored. I love that.
I'm a fan of that. I think it's really cool to see. What?
You're a fan of discolored rocks.
Yeah,
I'm a
let
fan of discolored
Hyle
rocks,
whisper
yeah.
stuff to me because I promise they don't want to hear it.
Well, they don't want to hear it, but
Yeah, no, I liked it, but it was for me.
I thought you were calling them scolored rocks because it would be very much shorter to say.
oh, burn on you, Mitchell.
I'll agree to that one. See how easy that was? I'm saying scolored rocks now.
Mitch, I'm gonna kill you.
Oh, well, I'm afraid of that.
I mean,
but
you better strengthen up that neck, Mitchell.
Yeah, you get working. I'm gonna jump off a building with a banjo.
straight onto my neck. For real.
Now, he wasn't in a trailer, but Mumbo's also there. He's
Mumbo
peeking.
is there,
He's peeking.
coming out of the mouth, or standing in the mouth of the Gruntilda layer. Is that right?
Not of Gruntilda, but the layer mouth. Yeah.
Yeah, this was something that This was
Not
something
an
that
actual
we
Gruntilda,
kept trying to, because again, disconnected from everything.
Lord.
We saw this screenshot appearing in like people's Twitter feeds and being shared with us.
Yeah, we
and
couldn't tell if it was fake or not because it looks like a screen from the trailer, but just with Mumbo in it.
And we couldn't just rule out, well, okay, Mumbo, but he doesn't look like an N64 model, so they obviously made a new one because we've seen Ed Bryan tweeted out a like unused Mumbo design for Banjo X that looked like pretty dead on to the very
Wakanda Forever.
Wait. Okay, it's this, right? Yeah, it's above the head.
I care about two things: Wakanda and Xbox.
And Batman.
and Batman.
Yeah, just those two things. Yeah, he said I care about two things: this, and
That's
Batman.
gonna be
That's
a
three.
really weird, like, just thing to start talking about for the audio only listeners.
You know what?
You care about two things?
They need to get
Yeah,
on the
this-
call. They need to get on the.
Yeah, if you don't see what's happening, that's your choice. And it's a little bit funny that you don't get to know everything.
Yeah,
But-
what I was getting at is, like, speaking of, yeah.
Sorry, Cameron.
What if, just speaking of getting your shit together, it took us, the Mumbo thing took forever to sort out because we weren't sure where that screenshot came from. And it's kind of been a running theme with us trying to cover this remotely, and thanks very much to the DK9 team back home, particularly Joe Mudd, who wrote an absolutely excellent article about this on DK9. You should check it out.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. You can't undersell how hard it is. This is my first year at E3, and I'm learning how hard it is to really be plugged into what's going on, other than what the limited scope of stuff you can directly see.
Now you know why I don't know what Dragon Quest is. Because I've been out at E3.
But there's so many other days in a year. There's like over 300.
There's over 300 non-E3
Yeah.
days in a year
Yeah.
to
It,
really
those are the days
just
when you
nail
need to
down
do the homework.
What is Dragon
What is
Quest?
Dragon Quest? I can take the time and figure this one out.
But yeah, it looked like a photoshopped image of just that, just looped in there, and it wasn't. It was Mumbo. It was Mumbo. Mumbo's there. He's peeking. He's doing a peekaboo.
He's flooping.
And how surreal is it that we saw as many Banjo characters as we did in this trailer, and Mumbo wasn't one of them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting because I immediately was thinking, yes, Grunty is probably your number 2 after Banjo and Kazooie, so you're your number 3. But Mumbo is right next. Like Mumbo is there. Like he is.
I don't even know. I think maybe Mumbo might be bigger than Grunty. Like,
I'm close to thinking that too.
like
Yeah.
think about the Tui box art and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really focused on.
I mean,
Well,
he is the
Mumbo.
only other playable character in the series, aside from Banjo Pilot, right?
Well,
Let's never forget Banjo
Give
Pilot.
me a sec. Clockwork Kazooies.
Yeah, that works.
It's not really a character.
It's
though.
an
It's like a-
extension.
What makes it not a character?
Because it's just a wind up thing.
Sometimes robots are characters.
So it's not even a robot.
yeah, we're gonna do
Min-
this Mario.
are you
versus Donkey
dismiss-
Kong.
are you
What's the
just-
main character in the movie WALL-E?
It's a robot, but that's a robot.
How dare you disparage the legacy of Minji Jongo?
Yeah, wait.
And then
robots can be characters.
I'm saying robots are characters. I'm saying Clockwork Kazooie, they're just wind up toys.
What's the difference?
no, because a robot can be thinking, and a wind-up toy just you wind it up, and then it goes in like a program.
Yeah, there's no processing power there. It's all just.
It's thinking on the spot. It's a very complicated
Well,
toy. You need to choose where
Look
it
at
goes.
look at
because
if I
it's
if I
deciding
do
where to
this
go.
I'm
if I
tell-
do this into a Powerade bottle and tip it over, that's kind of like I wound it up and it did something. Does that make it alive?
Well, it is still moving.
Look at it. Look at it. Did
I'm-
something after I moved it with my physical.
It doesn't need to be alive to be a character. and I
I'm
don't think
falling
it's
on
alive.
Mitch's side of the argument here because it's funnier because it makes it more horrible that
All-
Clockwork Kazooies explode.
All Kazooie does is just poop it.
Yeah,
And
it's a pretty good one too.
it
She
makes-
ploops it.
After that, it makes all the decisions of like where to walk and jump and stuff.
Which
So that's
Jim Jar is
No,
just
but
one heck of a
she's-
teacher. I want to learn how to poop robots.
It's not true. Kazooie goes back into the backpack, and in there, she's on a little tiny Game Boy, or like a tablet, and controlling the drone remotely, like those C-130s that they bomb the schools with.
It flooped the schools with.
Wait,
Stop saying poop. We did it a couple times, and it was so funny. And that one just pushed me over.
Oof.
Yeah. E3 is the magic.
Kirko did some music.
He did.
He did one music, that song that we hear in the trailer, and I think the story was that
he's done more actually.
Yeah, that's a developing story. Yeah.
Oh, so what they said was that it was one. And
there are more remixes from Kirkhope on the way.
Oh,
Now-
he said that with a smash ball turned.
Uh-huh.
Shit,
now-
so it's not.
Yeah.
Now, was it clear if those other songs are banjo songs?
Well,
They wouldn't be
What-
not banjo songs because the only songs they're adding are for each character.
Hmm.
I guess he could do some Dragon Quest stuff.
No. I think Cameron is referring to the possibility that there may be other rare.
I wasn't. But
franchises.
let's pretend that's what I said because it's less stupid.
You mean like Conquer songs or something?
no, like maybe he could do a remix of a Donkey Kong song.
But let's get
it
to.
has to be for Spiral Mountain because everything that's going to be added is going to be for that.
You
stage.
could
Well,
put
they've only
you could
done-
put Windy in Spiral
they've only
Mountain, but then
done
you get
one-
Robin to do it.
I think you could
if
put Windy in Spiral Mountain.
They've only done one DLC character so far, so I think it's a little early to say what the rules are for what they can do with the music.
Well, the only reason you're getting music is because you pay for it as part of the character packs.
You don't think they could add more music just as like the free give?
Only if they do a free stage, and it's for
What?
that. Yeah.
I don't think it has to be that way. You're limiting your imagination, my friend.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What we did know was that Kirkhope
I've got a problem
was
with my limited
given a
imagination.
choice on what to remix, and he went on. He kind of was thinking of what to do. And eventually landed on Spiral Mountain as what his choice was, only because it seemed most iconic. And it was a happy coincidence that the stage they picked was Spiral Mountain because Kirkhope didn't know that.
And speaking of things that he didn't know, I think you were going toward the story of how he found out.
Well, no, I wasn't.
Mitch was.
Oh, Mitch, yeah.
I wasn't, but we can. Davide Soliani, who worked with Kirkhope on the Ubisoft title Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. There's a epidemic going on in the DK Vine community where I'll say Mario plus Rabbids, and people will try to correct me saying, no, it only looks like a plus. It's Mario cross Rabbids. And then I show them
Cross
like
Rabbids?
Cross Rabbids?
Like X.
If there's anything it is not a cross.
Well, yeah. No, they're
Well,
wrong.
Technically,
Yeah.
hold
No,
it.
can I say I agree with Mitchell?
A plus shape
Thanks.
Yeah.
is
You
a
can.
cross. See, like a crucifix cross.
Well, if you just look up any
No vampire should watch this YouTube.
if you look up any actual information about the game from its website, or you can just look at the spine of the box, it's clearly a plus.
I could understand Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, but no.
This, in terms of things to debate, this is one of those ones that has a correct answer, and it's what Mitch said.
Yeah.
Anyway, just don't talk to me about plus. So Davide Soliani worked with Kirkhope, and because of that, he suddenly had an in with Nintendo again for the first time in probably decades. And I guess maybe Soliani knew about Banjo-Kazooie and Smash before Steve Mails.
Well, no, not necessarily. Nintendo asked Soliani for Kirkhope's
did it work
information.
that
They
way?
just asked for
They
I
said,
thought it was
"Can you
more
get
like-
us in touch with Kirkhope?" And
He was like the go between. How
could you ever get in touch with Grant Kirkhope?
they're not gonna just they're not gonna just tweet him, "Hey, you want to do something for Smash
If
Brothers?"
only he responded to people tagging him.
so Soliani went to Kirkhope and said, hey, "Is it okay if I give them your information?" And he said, "What was it that he said?"
Yes.
He said,
He said, yes, it is
fucking,
okay.
fucking right, yeah, like."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Kirkhope way of saying yes, which is really good.
Yeah, I was under the assumption, I think what you said is probably right, but what I thought what happened was, Davide said, I've got Kirkhope, when he's working with someone from Nintendo, do you guys need him for, stuff? and then
but no.
I think I got more the impression Jeff did, where they didn't.
It's not an impression. This is what I read was what happened.
Yeah, that's what I read in the same article. Was
to quote Jeff, this is one of those things that has a correct answer, and I think it's what Jeff did.
Yeah. So
it's quicker if you just accept that Jeff is right.
It is quicker.
And he said, "Do you want it?" And then Kirko said, "Yeah, give it." And then they started working together, and over some months, and actually Kirko, Sakurai tweeted Kirko today to thank him, and Kirko then said something along the line, how great it was to work with him, and that Sakurai had good input or feedback that went into making the song perfect. So that's an interesting kind of thing, because they don't even speak the same language. How fun is that?
It's so fun.
We live in such a good world. You can connect with everyone.
Yeah,
except for this table.
Scientologists won't connect with me. That's a lingering struggle.
They're not allowed to.
They can just tell. They can tell I'm an SP.
So yeah, it's great. Grant Kirkhope, the first Western composer to develop for Smash Bros.
Yeah.
And he deserves it. I mean, there are a lot of excellent Western composers, but
it feels like David Wise has been slighted.
David Wise has been slighted.
Yeah.
And if you just talk about musicians in general, that
there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah. Tom Petty. No, wait. He's
Austin Wintory, who did. I think that's how his name is pronounced. I think he did like Journey and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of Western composers.
And there's a lot of work from Western composers in Smash. They just weren't asked to compose new arrangements. Like, T-Lopes, there's a song from Sonic Mania.
I take back the thing I said about it being unlikely that Grant does anything that's not Banjo. He may do a better version of the DK rap.
That's what we were thinking. Literally, that was when I said he could do a Donkey Kong song. I was thinking, like, you could do the DK rap.
You're right.
And I said, why wouldn't they let him and then just
give it... Because the current version is so bad.
Just put it into the game as a free update. It doesn't have to be just on Banjo's stage.
Yeah, I mean, it takes money to make songs, which is why I would assume it's not going to be a free update. But, yeah, why not? It could just happen. I really like the way Sakurai tweeted about Kirkhope, where he was, again, everything that I'm reading from Sakurai is going through a translator, either manually, which is nice-ish, or by Google, which is barely legible. But he basically said, according to my understanding of it, that, it was my first time working with a foreigner composer, and I was just so nervous about it. I was just, he was like really nervous about the language barrier and getting his ideas across as a director of a creative work. But the way it turned out was really good, and he was happy that Kirkhope was able to work with him. Which is cool.
That tells me that
we're all happy about
working with Grant may have opened a door.
Yeah, I'd like to see some David Wise Donkey Kong music in there.
Or maybe fix the window.
Maybe fix the window.
No, it opened the window. You know what we didn't mention is the fact that the escalation of the way in which the window is broken between the first trailer and the next trailer.
In that there is no window anymore.
First, it's just they broke the glass, and this time they literally, the entire frame and all, removed that window from existing. Mm-hmm. And now it's just a hole in a building.
It's just a hole in a building.
Yeah, it's just a hole in a building.
So I think we should then talk about the final Smash.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, did they have one?
Ginginator.
The Ginginator.
Yeah.
Again, this was a shot-for-shot recreation of the K-Roll trailer, but instead of the Blastomatic, we see the, I guess, iconic to us. It seems like a deeper cut than the Blastomatic was. Just because everybody who ever got a game over in Donkey Kong 64 saw the Blastomatic.
Yeah, they weren't going to make Banjo-Kazooie's game over screen.
You had to.
They could have.
That would have been fun.
Maybe that's the spirit.
What they could have done. Well, yeah, it wouldn't really work for. I guess their final smash is just to turn their opponent into a very, very sexy version of themselves.
You grab them and then it just transports you into the lab. Throw them into the chamber, and then Sexy Grunty comes out the other end, laughs for a bit. It takes like 30 full seconds, and then you're back into the...
You can't skip it the first time either.
Yeah.
And that sucks, because, like, who wants an ugly sister?
Oh yeah, that's the whole plot of that game is to protect my sister from kind of being ugly. The stakes have never been higher.
I've actually, until I said that, I've never thought about it. I've never thought like you just want your sister to not be ugly so much. That's
It just turns to look at her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just gonna be
The whole plot of that game.
You just won't even like her anymore.
It's not like he's even gonna hang out with her in a couple of years.
She makes you so grossed out. You just
Judy,
can't even hang out.
came to the family reunion again, huh?
We didn't tell you about it. How'd you find out?
Yeah, the Ginginator, the fucking Ginginator is in fucking Smash Brothers.
And the Jinjos.
Which means that we have a Kev Bayless character in the redesigned Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong. We have Steve Mail's characters in K. Rool, Banjo, and Kazooie. And we have an Ed Bryan character in the Jinjos.
And Mumbo.
Yeah.
Who makes Grunty and Bottles? Who comes out? Who creates those
Grunty is
characters?
Steve Mails. I don't know about Bottles.
What? How do we not know
I
who
feel
made
like
Bottles?
Bottles would be Ed Bryan.
It seems like Ed Bryan.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Because he makes the ones that are my favorites, like Royston the Goldfish.
Will Royston be in Smash?
Yeah.
Oh
that would be
my
good.
god, no.
No.
He's not even gonna be a spirit.
I guess it's the camera's too zoomed
Well,
out.
okay,
If
time
he
out.
was a spirit,
He would
though.
be a cool spirit. Oh yeah. I don't know what you would do.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know what you would do, but it would be good.
What? Okay, is Squirtle?
What's the closest thing
Spirits
to
are
a
always
fish?
Squirtle.
No.
Maybe Greninja?
Is there a playable triangle in Smash?
Kirby? Oh no, he's round.
No, he's not circle. That's one of those circles.
He doesn't have any edges.
What would be the closest stage to a grill?
Closest stage to a grill?
Brinstar with the rising.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah. Thanks.
Sakurai, you can
I'm
just-
complimenting you, Mitchell. That's 2 in a row.
Yeah,
You're nailing it.
I'm absorbing him like a champ.
Yeah, Sakurai, you can
In
just
that
have
moldy
that one.
shirt of yours.
I feel like I said this the other day. The team, whoever is in charge of creating the spirit battles,
Do we really have to have this discussion?
no, I'm
now?
just saying. I'm just real quick. I just think they must have the best job in the world because this little thing.
They're good at their job.
We're just riffing on like, well, how would we do Royston?
Yeah.
Haha. That's their job.
We're basically saying we want to do their job.
Yeah, I could do it better.
I'll say if Royston
in
gets in the
some
game,
instances, I feel like
if
I could
Royston
do
gets
it
in the
better,
game, that's something that
Still
would
good.
almost eclipse the level of fan service that was in this trailer. Like that would be just.
Well, there's gonna be some spirits that are like crazy because there were some Persona spirits that most of them were like regular things to do, and then 1 or 2 of them were out there. So
I mean, if Rare has any input on what spirits make it in, I don't
Right,
know.
because if the Rare's probably got to provide, you know, the image that is like what the spirit, you know, because it's just an image
Yeah.
sticker.
This is a very roundabout way for me to get obscure character art out of Rare that I've been wanting for 2 decades.
They've opened the vault just a little,
Yeah.
and some stuff is seeping out. And
jam.
Some jam is plooping
Out of the jam trap.
jam trap. And you don't want to get too close, but you still want to scoop that jam. Yeah.
everything in the character and the stage and the music so far is Kazooie and Tui, and that's it. For spirits, I could potentially see even maybe getting into some nuts and bolts or Grunty's Revenge.
I hope
stuff.
So you will definitely. I, think
absolutely
some
hope
of the
so.
characters.
I think Log is a no-brainer. Like
Yeah.
Log is such an important part.
Well,
of
and this is a discussion
series
I
now.
think the 4 of us have had off mic, but it's been like
We can't not talk about this when we're not doing the show.
Oh, we're talking about this all week, but
yeah. It's the fact that putting nuts and bolts characters in a Nintendo game would legitimize that game just a little bit more in the eyes of the people who don't consider it like a true Banjo
And
game.
you even
Yeah.
have characters that can bridge the gap because they didn't get the ultra quality promotional models like Banjo-Kazooie and Mumbo did. Like Humba Wumba is a very major Banjo character.
Humbawumba, yeah.
Did not get one of those in the N64 era. Did get one of her redesign for Nuts and Bolts.
Which is the one they probably go with.
Humbawumba is a pretty cool character, except for a lot of it. So
yeah, there might be like
yeah,
an issue or 10.
there's an issue or 10 to 20,
And some percentage of that is resolved in nuts and bolts.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Because in nuts and bolts, she's just like a person,
Yeah.
which is a step up.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So it would be good to get her nuts and bolts design. I feel like people, you can legitimize nuts and bolts, but people have kind of made up their mind. I'm more excited for like getting some Grunty's revenge.
I very much
in there.
doubt we'll get Grunty's revenge.
I want Bonsai. I want Bonsai the mole.
I want a spirit that is just like
Splitter.
the like the 5
the
time
creepy
travel
happy
dis-
Klungo
the
from
5
Grunty's
time
Revenge.
time travel displaced banjos in the game over menu. Make that a spirit, all 5, and then you fight just like 5 banjos.
Yeah, they'll probably do that for sure.
Well,
for sure, probably.
this is what I meant when I said I
Mother
would do.
Clucker is going to be in there.
I would do better than they do because
Let's just put the Tip Top Suite in as the stage. Why are we doing Spiral Mountain?
Can Falco be Mother Clucker?
Yeah. He can be anything he wants to be.
Mitch, yeah, there's no reason not.
Okay.
Anything you want.
But the way they
Thanks, Joe.
portrayed the Ginginator Final Smash was they gored K. Rool's supple
His
belly.
His gore hole.
Yeah, his borehole. And he fell off Grunny's lair. And then it's a little deceptive because I thought he was falling down into Spiral Mountain, as one does when one falls off Grunny's lair.
Right. It's a supercut between the gameplay footage of the Final Smash, which I guess probably looks like it takes place on top of the castle, right?
The lair, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
and,
one of those final smashes where it transports you to
Right.
another
But
Like
environment.
K.
for
Rool's
the-
Final Smash.
right, but then it cuts from there back to the CG trailer, which is a different location.
They love doing that in the
And
trailers.
so they're
they did that in the Hero
falling-
trailer as well.
It's actually still the Congo jungle where K. Rool falls through the floor, the dirt.
Which I
floor.
guess creates some weird dissonance with the
ground.
earlier part of the trailer, because K. Rool is just as happy to see Banjo and Kazooie as DK and Diddy are.
Yeah, but look, somebody's
But then
got to
he gets-
get gored.
But then he
so-
gets
But
back
somebody
into
had-
character. Well, this just goes to show how crazy Banjo and Kazooie are. Because first they're like, well, I'll kill a dog. and then this guy is like, oh, hey, I haven't seen you in years. How are you? And they drop him off a mountain.
Yeah. In an actual Banjo-Kazooie game, you would hit King K. Rool's stomach hard enough that it fractures, and it would happen to fracture into the perfect shape of a Jiggy.
Yeah.
No.
And then he would just
Yeah.
be like, that was just my whole livelihood.
That was my actual skin.
Yeah.
It was gold, but like part of me.
You destroyed my livelihood.
So no, I would have almost liked that better had this not been even more perfect.
They're not going to take apart his stomach in a trailer.
I didn't think they would do a lot of things that they did in this trailer, and they did them.
Like Banjo-Kazooie are on top of a mountain looking around and they see the glint of gold and they're like, aha, Jiggy, I'll go have that. And then it's actually King K. Rool's belly and he's napping.
have one.
He's just napping like on the floor and
just napping on the floor.
because his belly is made of gold. That's why I'm making these hand gestures. But no, he's napping and then they come in and they do the drill beak on his stomach.
I know of it.
Yeah, we just wrote that. See, we would do better than anyone at what we have great ideas.
Yeah, but this was a great idea too because they switched out Grunny at the end of Banjo-Kazooie with K. Rool, and they dropped the iconic boulder atop of K. Rool.
And before the boulder, the iconic silhouette, the cartoon style silhouette of a crater that someone forms from falling from a high distance that is the exact shape of their silhouette.
And their silhouette looks like
because Grunty and K. Rool share similar design sensibilities. It looks like Grunty's silhouette.
Yeah, because they both are like crocodiles.
They're both green, yeah.
They're both
Yeah.
green. They've
if you're
got
green,
one.
you're a crocodile.
They're both green. They're both pretty.
That's why I stay away from limes.
They're both green. They're pretty big.
And
They've got
birds.
asymmetrical eyes.
Well,
which-
the fact that they're
can
both
impact
green,
the silhouette, but
is why it impacts the silhouette.
Yeah, but that level of fan service, like, oh, imagine K. Rool on top of Grunny's lair and K. Rool getting trapped under the boulder. That's the kind of nonsense that I would have slapped out on my keyboard back
it's
in the year
kinda like
2000.
when King K. Rool comes in for like a really good punch, and he's got his boxing glove on, and you're like, whoa, that's a deep cut.
This entire trailer was just a nonstop barrage of wouldn't it be cool if.
Yeah, well, the way I've been saying it since I saw it was that it felt like fan fiction. It felt like something when I was like, 14 would have like typed up on dkvine.com,
Slapped out on the
and
keyboard.
said, this is how you should do the trailer. Wouldn't it be cool if this happened and this? And then I'm like, and then you get to the end and you realize, yeah, that's what a fan would write. It's too crazy.
It's too much.
It never would happen.
And,
they just did it.
And this is if you think about it, this is the closest we've ever come to a Donkey Kong universe movie. Like this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just agree. Sometimes I don't have anything else to say. I just like what you guys say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was yang to you that time about the one you just said. I liked it.
I like what you had.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
what's the next one? What's the next?
do we have to? Oh, I guess we have to talk about
what's
them
the next
stealing the
sentence?
pancakes.
Yeah. Oh.
So
Okay.
this is kind of a come down. This is kind of a
Well, it was
Well,
like that
I
when
don't
we
think
watched
so.
it. A
This
little
is
bit.
deflating Mr.
It's
Patcher.
not deflating.
I don't think so. I don't think it is.
It's just less.
You don't think it is?
I don't think it is. Well, wait. Do you want to talk about who we talked to today about it, or
Let's talk about the
We
scene
did
we're
talk to Banjo
describing.
about it.
We went in,
let's
we went into
set
an
up-
IHOP and we're like, "Can you explain this to us? Why is Banjo trying to steal the pancakes from the Ivysaur?"
yeah?
And
And they said because we carry all natural homegrown pancakes that can't be resisted.
They're free range.
Yeah,
yeah,
and everyone wants them
so
but they can't
yeah.
have them because we don't sell them.
because we have giant.
I'll let
Ivysaurs
somebody else
guarding
take this
them.
story because I'm honestly kind of fading.
Yeah, so for context, the very last moment of the trailer is in-game footage of Banjo and I think it's a giant Ivysaur
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
like a mushroom dinosaur.
Super big.
in the Pikmin stage. Banjo is tiptoeing over to grab a food item, which in this case is a stack of pancakes.
Yeah.
Grabs it, wakes up the sleeping Ivysaur, and runs off.
Yeah.
Which is a reference to
Well,
Ivysaur Goes Home
the
when it had all its pancakes.
30-second Pokemon movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this, to me, felt very clearly like a reference to Slumber in Banjo-Tooie, but like I also felt like that is so niche.
That's nichier than the Ginginator. Like that's
Like
It's niche, and also you have to put pieces together that aren't there.
If you go back to the K. Rool trailer, his end credits stinger was like acting like he was dead and then getting back up, which is a reference to the credits of Donkey Kong,
Right.
Right.
which is pretty niche. But this just one jiggy.
But when K. Rool's only from the end of Donkey Kong
The-
Country initially, like
Yeah.
that's pretty much what you're gonna pull from.
Like the only reason I can feel like they made this, the best reason I can come up with, if this is the deep cut they were going for, is to highlight that Banjo and Kazooie can tiptoe.
Yeah, I think that's a very memorable use
And
of
that
tiptoe.
it's one of the
It's
only
like the
uses
main
of it.
use, the main time you got to do that.
Yeah.
And like I didn't know if it was like a Yogi Bear reference because a bear is stealing food and going away with tiptoes, but that's a very like Western animation section. But then again, if Rare did have some say into it, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
But I think we're trying to focus on like what's the through line with Pancakes and Ivysaur in
Yeah.
that situation, because I mean you say to yourself, at least I said to myself, like there had to be a better analog in the game for those things, but I'm not sure there is.
Well, I think it's easy to convince yourself that like Sakurai doesn't know everything that we know about Banjo-Kazooie, which is just not true.
Which is
Like,
kind of
he's
dumb after
proven
what
himself-
we just saw. Yeah,
He's proven himself time and time again to be like a student of games.
Yeah,
Like all different kinds, including things that we also like.
and even things
Well,
he wouldn't know, he does his
And
homework.
I really
Yeah.
do think it should be said that when we talked to Banjo at E3 today,
Yeah.
they said
They said
they
it's
also
just like a
did
Smash thing.
they
as
also
in
didn't
Banjo.
know the reference, and they said, well, they think it's just a Smash Brothers thing. And then we said, well, thanks, Banjo.
Yeah,
We'll
keep
see,
on keeping on. I tipped him a note.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I think just a Smash Brothers thing from Banjo might imply, while some of this trailer was from Banjo. Other parts were just kind of Sakurai and the team, putting together their best attempt at like making this character make sense, and making him blend in with the world while still retaining all of his stuff. And this one joke happened to just be from the team in Japan, which is cool, man. Like that's cool. If it is Slumber, if it's genuinely supposed to be Slumber, which is only like slightly more probable than not, I think. Like Ivysaur isn't a snake.
There aren't any snakes.
But there also aren't. Well, they could have had Solid Snake be.
But they did that joke already in the Spirit Battles, where a character, I think it was the Mega Man.
I mean, if this trailer has taught me
Man.
anything, I don't care if you reuse a joke.
Yeah, but anyway,
Which character was Radley in the Spirit Battles?
Was Ivysaur, wasn't it?
I don't know off the top of my head.
We'll have to have the real fans figured out because we don't know it.
Yeah, we're really fakies.
We're just paid to be here. I'm paid in Powerade. I think that it's not. It seems unbelievable that would be what the reference is, but also it kind of doesn't because the game is full of like 1,000 spirits and all of them are pretty like deep cut, weird little approximations of a in-game thing where you're like, okay, well we'll take a snake and make it represented by Ivysaur because we don't actually have a snake.
Yeah, well, it's I guess like the vine whips on Ivysaur are kind of like snakes a little bit, but just a big reptile sleeping in a very like kind of tree darkened forested area. That's that jiggy with Slumber and Banjo-Tooie. Like it's.
I think also what's caused at least a little bit of a mental disconnect, even though I know this like has logical sense. We saw a Jiggy in that trailer.
Yeah.
There's not going to be like a Jiggy item in Smash because Jiggies don't really do anything that would have significance within the context of Smash.
I don't know how you could do. You could probably do better than pancakes.
Yeah.
But like that's also just kind of funny. It's funny stuff.
I mean,
sometimes you got to put some of the funny stuff.
If we give this as little benefit of the doubt as possible, and this was just like Sakurai and his video team having fun with their new toy, then there's something to that in and of itself that's endearing.
Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna get into even more depth on the episode that we will spotlight Banjo, right?
Yeah, well, I think we're gonna be talking about this all summer long because they're dropping fall 2019 or autumn as they like to call it.
Well, they called it
Correctly.
fall.
I know, but
the
I don't
trailer.
like fall because it just reminds me of all the times I trip.
Yeah, but because it's because of all those the tree feathers.
Stupid.
All the tree feathers fall, and that's
Yeah.
why it's called fall.
I know, but autumn is so much more poetic.
Autumn is pretty. It's pretty.
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty.
Like if all the seasons were people, autumn would be the.
Autumn conjures beautiful imagery. Fall is just dropping things.
Well, fall conjures the imagery of K. Rool and Grunty falling off of Grunty's leg.
no, I like fall then. Okay, well,
Yeah, cool.
we're gonna be talking a lot about Banjo. We're gonna get some sleep. We're gonna sleep a long time, and we're gonna be talking more about Banjo. I know a lot of you.
Yeah, not today.
No,
or
well,
tomorrow,
God, no.
Or maybe not even Friday, but someday. I am hoping to return to sleep.
Yeah,
I'd like to sleep at one point for more than a continual 3 hours.
yeah,
this
that
week.
would be great. Like more
Yeah.
than a Gilligan's Island tour is
I'm
my
doing
goal.
a lot of 3-hour sessions, but I need it to be connected.
I'm skipping the sessions. You're like, yeah, it's noon. I could get 3 hours, but like, I'm always like, I'm up. I can't stop being up.
So I know
I don't ever fall.
I'll accept it.
Okay,
All
I
right,
brought it back.
all right, yeah. I know a lot of you have called in. I know the DK Vine hotline is already fuller than a trap of jam, but
It's starting to pollute.
we will get to those calls. We will have the big blowout episode. You think, how much work did they discuss? They discussed everything. Oh, I'll find a way.
The entire
I'll
move
find a way.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching our E3 week conversations or listening. This was an interesting experiment, and we're gonna be back to normal for our wrap-up episode, and then it'll be Banjo, and then we have all sorts of other stuff to discuss as well. But yeah, this has been fun.
I hope you're excited for the conversation getting worse. Over time, no video, no more.
Yeah, no. Calm down.
Oh. I didn't mean to
I
be...
hate you so much, Mitch.
Aw. I didn't mean to be as mean as I was.
I've had to pee for like an hour.
Yeah.
You could have just gotten the pee.
Yeah, but I didn't want to this time because, you know.
Well, that certainly was a podcast, wasn't it?
Sure was, Hyle.
But just one more thing. So it's the morning of the final E3. We're all heading out. This was Jeff's first E3, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's Jeff.
That's come up a few times. So while we were making the very, very stressful, anxiety-inducing plans to come out to E3, we were all trying to get into the Xbox briefing. And, you know, pulled some strings and got us, DK Vine was able to get 2 passes to get in, which, you know, there's so much content for us to cover there. But, you know, you want to be there, and it's an important thing, especially if it's your first E3. But we only got 2. Mitchell with Super Jump had his own hookup. He got 1. So that left 1 person out, and we didn't know what to do. And Jeff, despite this being his first E3, voluntarily gave up the pass so Cameron could go, because when the year Cameron went, he couldn't get in. So it was a whole thing. But then, luckily, pulled some more strings. The complete Shaw came unspooled, and the poor woman froze to death. But Jeff got in, but we haven't forgotten how gracious you were. And since this is the 20th anniversary of Conker's Pocket Tales, we have a present for you.
Aw.
It's a bag from Ralph's.
Okay.
No.
A little too Ralph's. Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
This is a present, and I
know you
don't
can't
know what
smell,
it
but
is.
don't breathe in really fast when you open it.
Also, remember
give me
that dead bird from the other day?
How could I forget?
Well, you'll never forget now.
Great. This is tied in a knot. Okay, how does this go?
I've never gotten a present. I don't know.
My presents don't look like they come in the movies. My presents are always in like just like here.
Oh, this looks like it came from the video games.
Dude, name 5 video games. You don't know.
Conker's Pocket Tales.
Okay.
And
Conker's Pocket Tales.
yeah.
And you're gonna have to hold it up to the camera.
Conker's Pocket Tales Game Boy?
Yeah.
Conker's Pocket Tales Remaster Edition, Conker's Pocket Tales Anniversary Edition,
Right.
Turbo Championship Edition,
Yeah.
and Halo 3.
Yeah.
Oh my! Oh, what the fuck, Kyle? Wow.
Hold it up to the camera, Jeff.
This
And
is
just say what it is for the audio, Jeff.
it's the Sea of Thieves controller, which is you can't even get anymore. You have to buy them secondhand, and they're like what, like it's 1 billion pesos.
Yeah. I could have sold that on a secondary market
You
and
just
been
had
rich. Yeah.
Wow.
I squirreled them away.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
You squirreled them away is
Yeah.
a good pun.
Yeah.
Thank you, and also like thank Conker's Pocket Tales for being a birthday.
Well, it's funny you say that.
Oh no! Oh no!
And you're gonna have to do it twice. One on Game Boy Color and one on regular Game Boy.
I guess you're doing a thing. What's happening?
You're gonna have to find it.
What? Oh no!
Qué rico.